Let's see here. I feel like I need background music for this. All right. There we are. I see us. Wow, that is one heck of a delay. I'll see if I can shorten that delay at all. But anyways, okay, I see that we are live now. So, hello everyone. Thanks for being here.
Hello, everyone.
We did it. The technology appears to be working. If you can see and hear us, maybe just do me a favor and type hello in the chat. And certainly not for engagement to boost this video at all. I'm kidding. I think we're up and running. So obviously the Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock. But before, look, we all know that's what's going to happen there, right? Fernando Mendoza, we all think is the presumptive number one pick, and really has been that way for a long time. So we will have time to talk about Mendoza to the Raiders and what that looks like. But Johnny, maybe just open with kind of our general thoughts, like 30,000-foot view. We're in the blimp overlooking Pittsburgh right now. What's kind of the view you have of the 2026 NFL Draft?
Yeah. When you talk to people about an NFL draft, one of the sentiments I hear every single year right before the draft is, yeah, the quarterbacks aren't great this draft, but just wait until next year. And that's almost every single year it feels like. And I will just say, like, we think we don't know, but I love just focusing in on what's the best pieces of this draft. And the best pieces of this draft are on the defensive side of the football, really. There's depth at wide receiver as well in this draft. Yeah. There's a lot of fantastic players that are just not typically seen playing prominent key positions that you pay a lot for. So that's really interesting. Do teams tend to go best player available despite position, or are they going to maybe stretch to select a position of need more so and maybe overdraft?
Yeah.
The question I just mentioned, quarterbacks, everybody's asking, is there a second quarterback taken? We assume it's probably Ty Simpson. I think he is taken by a team not currently on the board, probably trades back up into the first round. That's a talking point. Do 4 Buckeyes go in the top 10? It's pretty much guaranteed 5 in the first round total. Just where do they go? Do 4 go in the top 10? That's the first time, I think, since it was the 40s, and it was Michigan State, if I remember right. So basically, it's almost crazy. Never happened before.
Yeah.
So there's so many good pieces. There's a lot of teams that desperately need quarterbacks, but just because there's not a lot of quarterbacks really available at the top, what do these teams decide to do? The Cardinals, the Jets, the Browns will have some of our friends on to talk about some of those teams and what they'd like to see them doing in this draft. But there are certain teams where it's almost like this is the draft before the draft. We need to set up next year really, really well too. And it's the typical teams, unfortunately, for fans. It's those Browns, it's those Jets, it's those Cardinals. I will say, I think the Raiders have done about as good as they could have this offseason to set up for Fernando Mendoza. Yeah. So I think if you are a Raiders fan, you should be pretty pleased overall with what they've done to set up your potential franchise quarterback this offseason, with what you've done to getting maybe the best center in the entire league. That offensive line was bad. It's not all of a sudden going to be fantastic, but it's not going to be a sieve as before.
Yeah, all good points, Johnny. I agree. I think we're in for a fascinating draft. We were talking before the show. I think there could be more trades than last year. As a reminder, last year we had 4 first-round trades. I think there could be more. One of the fun, let me just quick administrative stuff, and then we'll really dive in, because the Las Vegas Raiders, are on the clock already. Couple things. Number 1, we are doing a merch giveaway tonight. So if you would like to enter, the link is in the description of this video, and I will also try to post that in the YouTube comments here as well. We can see the comments. We have some fun new technology we're playing around with. One of them is we can share comments that you guys leave, so please leave comments on your thoughts. Danielle says, somehow I wiped from my mind that Terry Bradshaw was a Steeler. Yes, he definitely was, but it was a little bit before our time. So, yeah, no issues there. Austin, thank you for saying hello and confirming that you actually all can see and hear us. That's excellent. So there's a merch giveaway
Aaron,
happening.
they said they. Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was gonna say they said they're expecting during the draft as a whole over 200,000 people to attend.
Woo.
So they're getting everybody hyped with, all the current and former legends on stage. I'm sure
they
they'll
should.
continue to do that in Pittsburgh. It should be super fun.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time since the 40s that Pittsburgh has held the NFL draft. One of the things we're going to do tonight, as we have in years past, is we're going to have some of our friends on who are rooting for different teams than us. I completely failed and don't have my Lions gear on. I will remedy that before the night is over. But one of our friends is actually at the NFL draft, so if technology allows us and his hearing, because there's 200,000 people there, and phone service, we will have him on here shortly to say, hey, what is this environment like? He's currently in Acrisure Stadium, or Heinz Field, as we all know it should be called. So we're going to hopefully check in with him. But as always, throughout tonight, let us know in the comments what you guys are thinking as you are seeing these picks roll in. So, Johnny, let's get to what is actually on the clock, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, there's no surprises here that we are expecting. Like, basically, from the time that confetti was falling this year in the national championship, the Raiders were going to pick Fernando Mendoza. You can see the numbers here. That offense was bad. I mean, this was a team that struggled to even scratch across 14 points worth of points. So it's not like he's walking into a great situation now. I think one of the most interesting dynamics here is that Kirk Cousins is in Las Vegas now. And he's being paid a decent amount, and it's now round 3 of Cousins being with a team that has a top 10 pick. What do you make of that dynamic? And I need to adjust my iPad so I can actually see what's being picked here. But because I think Mendoza is about to go off the clock here. But what do you make of the current quarterback makeup, and maybe just the Raiders team in general? Because there's a lot of holes. It's a good thing they have 10 draft picks. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. So first off, I saw while Fernando Mendoza was, waiting in his hotel or whatever before the draft today, I think he got an early edition of the Lego Lord of the Rings Minas Tirith set. So I'm super jealous. I also think professional athletes whose hobby are Legos have a great chance of succeeding and not getting distracted.
I agree.
Because just Legos, perfect hobby, and super expensive, but they can afford it. Fernando's already been practicing West Coast offense schemes, plays. He's gotten private coaching to work on that. I actually see him as having a great chance of succeeding, but Fernando's not one of these freak athletes. He's a great size at almost 6'5". He's a big guy. You saw him take a lot of punishment in college in big games, not be afraid to do so. Obviously, that's never the goal in the NFL, but he can take punishment in a hit. For him, it's going to be about that elusiveness and that mobility within the pocket. Is he able to utilize that? He has in Ashton Jeanty a wonderful workhorse running back along with him that should help. Where are the other weapons, though? You have Brock Bowers at tight end. That's lovely. We need the wide receivers to come in. At the same time, I'm okay with them prioritizing the offensive line, though, and making sure that he's safe, he's protected, he can succeed. But Fernando's going to be a product of his environment around him. He's not some freak athlete to just raise the entire franchise on his shoulders. So they're going to have to surround him with a lot of talent, a lot of skill, as they did at Indiana. But you saw what he was able to do. And the number one thing that sticks out to me about Fernando on the field, because his personality is fabulous, that's exactly what you want out of a franchise quarterback, is his ball placement when he's throwing the ball. And a lot of people would say, like, oh man, he's just underthrowing, or he's underthrowing or overthrowing. His wide receivers have to make such difficult catches. He's throwing it exactly where you want him to. It is always away from the defender. The man does not turn it over, and he makes sure his wide receivers are the only ones able to go get that ball. So I think he's going to have phenomenal success as long as the Raiders protect him.
I totally agree. Fernando Mendoza is officially the first pick in the 2026 NFL draft. Big day, guys. Yes, it is. Thanks for being here. One other caveat I should mention is that we're streaming to you, so there's delay there. We're watching on YouTube TV, so there's delay there. So there's a good chance that you all sitting there in hopefully the comfort of your comfiest chair know what's coming before we do. That's okay. We've dealt with that in years past. We'll deal with that again here today. But the pick's official. We're underway now. It's where things get interesting. But
Yeah.
You mentioned the accuracy, and I think that's what shows up from Fernando Mendoza. Like, he won the Heisman, just the most magical story this year with the Indiana Hoosiers. I mean, you see the numbers there: 41 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That doesn't even come into account what he did on the ground, which, mind you, wasn't a lot. Like, you mentioned it. It's not like he's got upper end
Timely.
athleticism to, pick up yards. Like, I mean, Lamar Jackson comes to mind. I'm trying to think of a better comparison than that. He's probably not that player, but you saw what he did against Miami when he was asked. I mean, he was asked to win the game for his team, and he did it sometimes with his legs. There's not going to be any back down from him. Obviously, everyone kind of loves his personality. Why wouldn't you? We can now say officially he's employed. Everyone, he's not unemployed anymore. Good for you, Fernando Mendoza, for making something of yourself. That's
But
awesome.
Aaron, we joke about that, but don't you want it's the
Yes.
perfect ideal personality for a franchise quarterback. Like, I don't think anybody has any concern about Fernando getting in trouble. Dude's about ball. He's all about ball. That's exactly, you want kind of a football lunatic, if you will.
Totally.
Leading your franchise, a dude just obsessed about football. And that's what you have in Fernando Mendoza. So Raiders fans should absolutely be excited about him. And now the NFL draft really starts.
Yes, it does.
Because, and not just because of Fernando, we know about the 10 to 12 players that are going to go next. There could be a surprise, but we about know the 10 to 12 players that are probably going in the next 9 picks. Nobody knows the order. There has been so much misinformation, as there always is in the last week or two following up, because, if you're picking at 6, you're talking all about, you're feeding misinformation worried about a player, because you really just want them to fall to you, and you don't want, any of the 4 picks in front of you taking them. So a lot of misinformation. There's always random little leaks late. Looks like the Jets have probably already made their pick based on their draft room.
Yep.
It's just interesting. And a lot of this has been focused around Arvell Reese or David Bailey. 2 pass rushers. Reese will probably be on the defensive line and at linebacker. It will also be, David Bailey was fantastic on that just daunted, Texas Tech front. That Texas Tech team, people just look at that final score of their playoff game. The defense was plenty good to be championship worthy. The offense really let them down if you didn't actually watch much of the Red Raiders this season. But the question is really here, if you're the Jets, Arvell Reese, really the ceiling is the roof, as Michael Jordan would say. But the floor, you don't know where that floor is necessarily. A 1-year starter. David Bailey, a little bit more of a known commodity. Not saying he has a low ceiling, but it's lower than Arvell Reese just on God-given ability and talents and characteristics. So more of a sure thing maybe in David Bailey, or, swing for the fences with Arvell Reese. It'll be interesting to see who they pick. I'd be a little surprised if it wasn't one of the 2 of them.
Yeah, Arvell Reese is who you have in your mock draft. I've got that here right in front of me. We've got the graphic up on the screen too. Like, this is a team that clearly needs a lot of help. Jets fans would be the first to tell you that after a 3-14 season. Quarterback is the first thing listed, but there's no quarterback you're taking in this draft at number 2. Is there a quarterback you're taking in this draft in the first round outside of Mendoza? I think yes, we'll get into that. And the Jets are one of those teams that could move up. They obviously have 2 of the top 16 picks. They've got 2 first-round picks. They've got 2 second-round picks. So I think you're right. I think this is pretty straightforward in terms of either Reese or David Bailey. But what comes after that, I think, is what's going to be really intriguing for the Jets. You could throw the Giants in there too. I mean, think about it. The New York teams have 25% of the top 16 in this NFL draft. So I in my mock, I had David Bailey, which we talked about on the podcast a little bit. So for us, at least, again, probably some lag here, but the commissioners at the podium to deliver the New York Jets pick at number 2. And I'll do my best to read lips as I don't have the audio in my
And
my
it is
headphones.
David Bailey.
It is David Bailey. Okay.
It is David Bailey. So that's going to have ramifications down the line here with David Bailey. So, Aaron, in one sense, I actually applaud the Jets. They have been drafting off traits and high risk, high reward for a long time. And I'm a Buckeye, so I love Arvell. So don't get that misconstrued. But he is a one-year starter. And you're not 100% sure exactly where to put him on defense. Now that you can see that as an amazing thing, he's capable of playing 2 positions really, really well, or you can see it as a drawback of I'm not exactly sure where I want him. He's gotten a lot, but let's focus on David Bailey here. He was fantastic, resurgence for the Red Raiders, a new era, you could say, helped lead them into. That defense was absolutely phenomenal for Texas Tech. The Big 12 before this year had just been wide open, free for all, anybody's league. Any given day, anybody could take out anybody. And Texas Tech put an end to that this season. And you expect more of that from the Red Raiders. But this is a really, really good pick for the Jets. They're one of those teams I said, this is the draft kind of before the draft, but you got to set the table correctly. And they have 2 picks here at number 2 and number 16. They really need to provide the foundation for whoever they end up picking probably next year at quarterback. You don't want them to come in and it's a completely empty cupboard. They have nobody protecting them. They have to win shootouts. There's nobody to throw to. You need to set the table well as you can before they get there.
I mean, do you think the Jets are drafting a quarterback with one of their first 4 picks in this draft?
No.
Because I kind of think they will.
It's the Jets, so you never know.
Sure.
But I will say this pick kind of reinforces my thought that they won't. A little more conservative. And that's not been the Jets. And that's why I say, I understand their hesitancy with Arvell Reese here, where they have been, and they've gotten bitten a lot with those high risk, high reward early draft picks. And they're going to go with a more surefire thing in David Bailey at number 2, which makes things interesting for the Cardinals. They've gone with some of those hybrid players in the past.
Yep.
That doesn't work out well for them either. Lately, there's been information that Jeremiah Love's name has even come into the thought process here for the Cardinals. Listen, if you're the Cardinals, I beg of you not to take Jeremiah Love.
I agree.
And absolutely, I'm saying this for Jeremiah Love's sake. Your offensive line is atrocious.
Yep.
It's atrocious. And you will get that guy killed. Like Ashton Genty, really, this last year for the Raiders. And he ended up putting up okay numbers behind a really terrible offensive line. When people were, if you're a fantasy football player, you're like, where are the numbers? Where are the numbers? Well, he's not getting blocked for. And so I think you'd see a lot of the similarities with Jeremiah Love's rookie season if the Cardinals take him. So I have Francis Mauigoa from Miami, who was fantastic, especially down the home stretch for Miami this season. I'm really hoping that they go tackle here to build that offensive line because it's so bad right now. They need to build that offensive line. They need to get more talented there.
I agree. All right, so what's it like in Pittsburgh? You mentioned it, Johnny. There's 200,000 people there. One of them is our good friend Noah Cutting, who's joining us. Noah, what's up, man? I hope you can hear us with all the noise I'm sure that's happening in the arena right now.
It's been an amazing experience so far. It's like I think the county fair, but for NFL. I've seen. I think in the first hour I was here, I saw a jersey for all 32 teams. So everybody's well represented, and it's been awesome so far. They have a big fan fest right there on the point on the river, and now over at Heinz Field for the draft. So it's been really awesome.
That's amazing, and I'm glad you get to be there. Like, it worked out location wise because it's close to those of us that are in Ohio. No, it works out for you because the Giants have 2 of the top 10 picks. I know Arizona is on the clock right now, and we'll get to what their pick is. But just real quickly, talking about your Giants, what are you looking for? Because they're, obviously all these picks are impacting what the Giants will do. Is there a specific position you're looking for, a specific player with either 5 or 10?
What I'd like to see is to get double up on defense with both those picks. I kind of have a feeling they will end up going with a wide receiver or maybe Jeremiah Love if he's there at 5. But I mean, I'd like to see double the defense. I'd love it if somehow we could end up with both Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. The defense was what lost us all our games last year. Yeah. 5 double-digit leads in the fourth quarter that we blew, and if we can finish 4, even just 3-4 of those, we're talking about maybe going to the playoffs or contending for the playoffs. And so I'd like to see the defense fixed for sure. But I guesses they're going to go with one of each. So
the Jeremiah Love thing is really interesting because you would have that 2-headed monster in Cam Skadabu. Obviously, you're the assumption that he's back healthy at some point. But that's a really interesting dynamic. Noah, you're right that they probably should. The wise decision is probably double defense. But when you have these elite athletes this high up, you have a Carnell Tate, even like if you're talking Buckeyes, the urge is to go for the fun pick that'll really sell tickets. Does an offensive lineman sell tickets? I don't know, but they win you games. Or does a defensive edge, sell you tickets? Maybe, but they help you get to the quarterback, which is a pretty important part of things. So, man, I'm glad you get to be there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really cool. Definitely kind of probably the only time in my life it'll be this close to where I live. So figured I'd head on over and check it out. So.
Well, you're not getting Jeremiah Love because he just went to the Arizona Cardinals. So they did exactly what John and I said, please don't do this. But
poor Jeremiah Love.
Noah, we'll talk about the Arizona Cardinals, but I mean, to your double defense point, that's looking more likely because now at 5, you're getting your choice potentially of, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese. Like those 3 or 2 of the 3 are going to be available at number 5, which is awesome. So
Noah, Sonny or Arvell, who would you prefer if you get the choice?
Maybe Arvell. I guess it's hard because edge isn't really a need for us necessarily. But I mean, you just take good players when you're in the state that the Giants are in. Draft day has been the most exciting time of the year for most Giants fans for pretty much since the last Super Bowl 15 years ago. So I just like to see them get good players. And if I think I trust John Harbaugh being in charge now, I think for the first time since Tom Coughlin, I feel confident that they have a good coach in place. And so we'll see what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Noah, we'll let you go so you can get settled in and enjoy the New York Giants picking. We'll let you celebrate the Giants Super Bowl, which unfortunately, like so many teams, happens in April for a lot of us. But thank you so much for jumping on. Thank you for taking time out of your time there to check in. Dude, I'm glad you're there. That sounds like the environment is absolutely awesome. So I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was great.
Yep.
Have a great time, Noah.
Yep. All right. Well, let's react, Johnny, because there's lots to react to. Number one, there's 200,000 people. The Cardinals did it. They couldn't help themselves. Like, just think about the number of top running backs. Like, this is not an indictment on the running back position because look at Seattle this year in the Super Bowl. Their running back wins the MVP. Like, that was a critical piece. But Seattle was ready for a running back. Arizona is not ready for a running back. They allowed 59 sacks. They were 31st in rush yards, not because of lack of talent. That had more to do with injuries and offensive line. Like, there's no questioning. We're not questioning Love's talent either. He's unbelievable. He can pass catch. He's like, arguably, he was underutilized at Notre Dame, especially in the early going when Notre Dame lost both their games. That's not what we're talking about here.
Aaron, look at the top 6 teams in this draft. The only team that's not always here is the Giants. And recently they have been. So, but the other 5 of those 6 are always here. The Raiders, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Titans, and the Browns. And if you're a fan of those teams, you know I'm speaking the truth and you agree with me. Why? Because they don't get the sequencing right. It's not just about drafting the wrong player, it's the sequence, which is what you're saying. Is the offensive line ready for a running back this talented? Can he help out the offensive line? Of course. You can also shorten his career. Yeah. And you can waste one of his brilliant seasons. Running backs don't last as long. I'm not making any headlines saying that. They just don't last as long as a quarterback, a wide receiver, a corner. Most of the time, they just don't. They don't have as many brilliant seasons. So when you get the running back, you want to be ready to take full advantage. Think about Ezekiel Elliott when he went to the Cowboys. He gets drafted by the Cowboys. The offensive line's ready instantly. And you had no inclination that he was a rookie just watching the game tape in that. Because the running backs, to their credit, are also the most NFL ready their rookie season, almost out of any other position as well. So, we're talking about the drawbacks of the running back. That's the benefit of the running back. But that also means you want to be ready to go. And the Cardinals are just void of talent even all over the field. Yeah. I feel bad because it feels like we're kind of crapping on Jeremiah Love. And that by no means, like, he could actually be the best football player in this draft. Like, yeah, easily. Totally. But football's team sport. It's very dependent. All the positions are. And it's not, again, about who you're drafting. It's when. What's the sequence? And you had the best offensive lineman on the board still. You had defensive freaks still on the board. The Titans have to be thrilled out of their mind. I know a lot of people had Jeremiah Love there, but, I mean, you have your pick of the litter now. Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs. You could go get Carnell Tate and help out Cam Ward. You could pick whatever you want almost at this point. So I'm fascinated to see how they decide to help Cam Ward, whether that's a weapon, that's offensive line, or getting stronger on defense.
Yeah, you're right. They've got their pick of the litter. I mean, Maui Noah, if you're really just trying to make sure you protect Cam Ward, which is not a bad idea. The Titans allowed 56 sacks. That was 27th in the NFL. And the picks in, by the way, you probably know this by now, but the NFL draft moved a little bit quicker this year, which, you know what, claps all around for that, because most of these teams, at this, especially in the top 10, kind of have their list of 1, 2, 3, and then take whoever's at the top of your list. The Tennessee Titans, as Roger Goodell, at least again on our screens, is walking out. We'll see what the Titans do at number 4. John, I'm at least glad our video seems to be pretty synced up, so that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty synced.
All right,
let's see. Oh, and it is. They get a weapon.
Carnell?
I love that.
Okay.
I actually love that pick. There's your first Buckeye. I think if the betting favorite to be the first Buckeye off the board, I think that's for sure. But I love that pick. You're giving Cam Ward a big-bodied receiver who's able to go high point the ball. He's able to make the quarterback right even when he's wrong. If you've watched any Ohio State games, you know Carnell is brilliant at contested catches. Yeah. I really like the pick. Yes, Aaron, you're right. They gave up way too many sacks last year too. I think this was a position where, based on what happened beforehand, you couldn't really go wrong if you were the Titans. I think they were one of the teams coming into the draft where they were going to win almost no matter what. You were either going to get a really great weapon at running back, a really great weapon at wide receiver, protect Cam Ward, or help the defense out a little bit. Like, they were all needs, and no matter what happened at 4, I think it was going to be great. So I think this is a good pick by the Titans.
I think so too, because I mentioned the stack statistic, but they were also 166 pass yards last year on average, which was 30th in the NFL. Also not good. He helps out immediately. Johnny, I agree with all the qualities you just said about Tate. His route running, I think, is what maybe stands out to me the most. It's just elite. There was a thing at the combine where he didn't run super fast, and I was a little worried that as GMs sometimes do, they'll overinflate a really fast time, or they'll be really, really concerned about a slow time, and that didn't seem to be the case here, because all he had to do was just look at the tape. And yes, did he have Jeremiah Smith on the other side of the field? Yes, but you're right. Some of the contested catches, all the above, like, this is a great pick. I'm curious, as an overarching theme, there are 3 wide receivers that I think are pretty set as the top three. What happens below that is going to be very interesting. How many total wide
Yeah.
receivers do we have? I think we had 6 wide receivers drafted in the first round last year. Does the Titans drafting Tate at 4, does that accelerate now some of the teams that are like
Yes.
sitting there like, oh boy, we're going to get our wide receiver, and then you see the Titans with all those defensive opportunities in front of them say, actually, we're going to take this guy. Does that ramp up the panic meter for some of those teams? I think that's going to be a very fascinating thing to watch. The Giants could be one of those teams. Now, again, we just talked to Noah about this.
Giants picks in already. They know who they want.
Yeah, and I gotta think it's defense, especially at 5. Maybe at 10 you go wide receiver.
Aaron, I don't know, because we heard so much Jordan Tyson noise late in the draft, and that's where you're saying Carnell Tate going. Does that spook the Giants into saying, I don't know if he's there at 10. I want him now. Yeah. And I will say this, despite whatever I say after the fact when they actually make the pick, if you like a guy that much, don't play with it. Go get him when you have the chance to get him. Don't, we think he'll be there at 10. If he's your guy, go get him. We'll talk more about Jordan Tyson if he is the pick. But I think that could spook him. But if you are the Giants, Arvell Reese is still on the board. That's not really specifically your needs. Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs really fits what your needs are better. I'm fascinated here.
Yeah, I am as well. The Giants pick is in. You had Sonny Styles initially in your mock. Obviously, he's still available, but so is Arvell Reese. Yeah, the Giants are a fascinating tale. They've got, again, picked. We'll talk about that, Johnny. We'll give you your opportunity to talk about who the Bengals could have had at 10. You said it on the podcast, by the way. This is a quick plug. We have our podcast, the Fifth and Goal Sports Podcast. Every Wednesday, new episodes releasing. We talked this last week and actually the last 2 weeks because we did, Johnny, you and I did our alternating mock draft. And we talked about what the Bengals could have at 10 would kind of shape how you feel about the trade. I would say right now, with 3 of the first 4 players being offense, right now it's shaping up that the Giants could have an opportunity to draft a really high-level defensive player at 10, which is what you were concerned about. So obviously that will be a development as we move along in terms of, what that trade looks like as time goes on. But I think that's one of the thought processes that you've had on that, sexy Dexy Bengals Giants trade.
Yeah. And, the Giants are another. I feel good about the Giants if I'm a Giants fan. Noah's feeling still kind of the depravity of where his squad's at right now. But I think you have to feel at least optimistic about your future if you're the Giants right now, especially with these 2 picks to help you be excited. Interesting, though, like I will say this at 6, and we'll have Jim on to talk about that in a moment. But like, I think a lot of people had Carnell Tate for the Browns at 6. Like, they're in big need of offensive help. Did they have Jordan Tyson rated high enough, or Lemon, Mekhi Lemon rated high enough to take him at 6? I probably doubt it. They've also been linked with a lot of potential trade downs. 6 at the Browns is kind of that first team that you would see as like be willing to move probably out of that spot.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, but they also probably didn't perceive having all of these defensive wonders available at 6. Defense is not the primary issue for Cleveland, but the top tackle's still on the board, and I don't expect the Giants to take Maui Noah. They could surprise me. But if Maui Noah's there on the board at 6, man, I that would be difficult temptation to pass up, I think.
I agree.
So,
well, if you're
obviously
watching
very dependent on what the Giants are going to pick, but we'll see.
For sure. If you are watching on YouTube, which is where you're watching because it's where this live stream is available, let us know in the comments what you think some of the upcoming picks are going to be, considering all the defense we have. We'll react accordingly because we've got chat pulled up here. Also, just as a quick reminder for those that we said at the beginning, but I'll restate it. We have our merch giveaway. I'm going to post that in the chat again as the Giants are.
Aaron, I think the Browns are trading their pick.
Oh.
I think they're trading their pick.
Okay. We'll stay tuned to that. I just posted the link to our merch giveaway. That is in the comments of YouTube. It's also in our description. So fill that out if you want a chance to win some merch, because we're probably updating some merch here soon. And by probably, I mean that we are. So this will probably be your last chance to get this line of merch. So do that sort of just as a thank you for being here again. Talk to us in the comments. We've got chat pulled up. We would love to react to what you all are thinking, including maybe if you all are aware of what the Browns are doing, you can let us know that as well. The Giants have been. This is where we need to improve, NFL. The pick's been in for like 10 minutes. What are we doing? I mean, I know what we're doing. We're doing.
We can run an ad.
Is what we're doing, but this is where we could speed things along a little bit. But that's okay. The Giants on the clock, as they will be with pick 10 again, with the Dexter Lawrence trade happening there. Just as a reminder, Johnny, your mock draft, you had Sonny Styles, Ohio State linebacker. For those
Awful.
counting, for those counting at home, one Ohio State
rough.
player has been taken. The question was, will 4 of the top 10 players in this draft be from Ohio State? And we are waiting to hear. And Michael says, interesting move by the Chiefs here. The Chiefs trying to climb up. That would be interesting.
I think they're moving with Cleveland.
With Cleveland just swapping there. Okay.
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm sure there's more. They're getting something else, of course, but I think that's Kansas City probably seeing Arvell Reese still on the board.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Yeah. That's probably a fair assumption.
that's probably what's happening. Would be my assumption. They're
Like I said,
waiting to
I think
make
we're going to have a
that-
lot of trades. And
Yeah,
it sounds like
I think they're waiting to make that announcement on the broadcast until after this Giants pick, I assume. But it looks like that. And honestly, depending on what they're getting from Kansas City, I don't hate the trade back if you're Cleveland. I just said my whole spiel on. I mean, you're kind of sitting in a spot where you feel like you might be overdrafting somebody, and the wide receiver you really wanted is gone. So why not trade back, get more valuable resources and assets, and maybe a second, third round pick? And there's Arvell Reese, though.
there's Arvell Reese. Interesting. Well, this makes sense because he was
Sonny Styles is still on the board.
Yeah, Cleveland. Well, probably not Cleveland. Kansas City, apparently. Looking at you, Michael. Michael says, "How many edge rushers do the Giants need?" It's a valid question, but here's an interesting
All of
stat.
them.
Well, right, all of them. You can never really have too many. Here's the other thing, though. Arvell Reese did not necessarily he was an edge rusher at Ohio State, yes, but he only. I believe the stat is, and I'll have to pull it up because I don't want to butcher this stat. So yeah, here's the stat for Arvell Reese. He only rushed the quarterback for Ohio State last season 97 times. But when he did rush the quarterback, he generated a pressure 19% of the time. Now, he didn't have any sacks in his final 6 games. If you're a Buckeye fan, you're probably aware of that stat. You're like, where is this guy? But this guy's a stud. Johnny, you mentioned at the beginning, this guy can slide in, play some inside linebacker at times. So, yeah. Can you ever have too many edge rushers? Maybe the Giants are putting that to the test, but this guy can do more than
There's
just
your
that.
trade.
In fact, as for Ohio State, that's what he did more of. For us, we're getting our trade details here as the Browns have traded this pick to the Kansas City Chiefs. Wow.
And so now, okay, here's the thing with this move. Reese is gone. Obviously, I think they had this trade done before then. However, the secondary is in some need if you're Kansas City. Is this you getting ahead and making sure you get Mansour Delane at corner? I don't think it was necessary to trade up. So I doubt that's the case. So I think that means you are looking at a Caleb Downs, a Sonny Styles,
I
or
think Sonny.
maybe you are even thinking, I want to reinforce the offensive line with Francis Maui-Noah, because there's been a lot of talks as well about we need to fortify that offensive line. And you could also just be Kansas City seeing the best tackle's still sitting there. We can go get him right now. And I doubt they had to give up more than like a second round pick at most to the Cleveland to make that move.
Yeah, I agree. This is getting fun. It's getting fun, ladies and gentlemen. The Chiefs pick is in, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and I'll let you know what the price was when we know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Aaron,
Jeff
who are you
reporting-
thinking at this point? Kansas City.
I think it's got to be Sonny Styles. I just think you heard everything. Everything you heard about Sonny Styles was good, and you knew that as a Buckeye
3
fan.
Buckeyes in a row?
Well, it could be, yeah, which is shocking.
It could be 4 at that point.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, it
I bet,
absolutely
Aaron,
could.
you're right, though, because if Sonny's there, Washington's taking him. He
Yes.
fits the need, and he's the best available.
Yeah.
So
Everything you heard about Sonny Styles, whether at draft combine, like even it was not just that he just obliterated the draft combine, like in a good way, that his measurables were crazy, like insane. One of the historic performances in the combine, which, is not everything, but it's when you're that athletic and talented, it's something. But it's also, you were hearing that he was everyone's favorite interview. His dad was a former NFL player. Obviously, his brother will be drafted, probably not tonight, but later on this weekend. So everything just kind of checks all the boxes, and like could be a green dot kind of player. Obviously, there's no question about that. So he may have been the player that Kansas City said, if he's still available, Cleveland, we're giving you a call and we're making this move. And it could be that they were not the only team to do that. The Dallas Cowboys come to mind in terms of teams that have the draft capital to move up, whose need is primarily defense. Of course, we'll really get into that when we start talking about the Cowboys. But so Schefter's on screen. We are, of course, muted here. But
Aaron,
I
that's
assume
also
he's talking
6.
details.
I have to go back to
Here it
Cornell
is.
Tate.
Okay.
That's 6 Buckeye wide receivers taken in the first round in the last 5 drafts, by the
Johnny,
way.
the Browns get a
So,
third round and a fifth round pick.
Third
this
and a
year.
fifth. That's a decent. I mean, that's really
decent.
about as good as you're going to get. It's a decent haul.
Yeah.
It's 3
I agree.
spots.
Yeah.
You're not going to get some gigantic haul for a non-quarterback trade up.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, if you would help us out and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that would be a great help to us. It's free and it just helps you get content like this and other sports content that we do. So we would appreciate that. We're doing a challenge where we're trying to get the same number of subscribers to fill up every college football stadium, and we have filled up Charlotte. So we're excited about that. We're moving forward. I can't remember which one's next. Anyways, the commissioner's at the podium for pick number 6, which is now Kansas City's. And it is Mansour Delane.
My gut was right at the beginning. I'm
was.
surprised they felt the need to trade up for him, though.
Yeah,
I
I do too.
I could be wrong. I very easily could be wrong. I feel like that was unnecessary. I think he would have been there at 9. I think Washington wants Sonny Styles. I can't tell you 100% who the Saints are going to take. I think they would have loved an Arvell Reese, obviously at 8, or a David Bailey, because they're losing a lot on the defensive side. The Saints are another team that have a lot of needs in a lot of different places. I'm slightly surprised. Like, this is the need, so it's not a bad pick as far as who they're getting. You make that trade with the Rams. You need to replenish there at corner. I'm surprised they felt the need to trade up.
I am too. Yeah, I mean, in your mock, you had Delane going 11, and obviously at that time, Kansas City was drafting at number 9. But so we'll break the Ohio State run at 2 players. So very interesting. So that brings up the Washington Commanders, who are drafting at number 7. Johnny, Sonny Styles still available. We just talked about how good
They got to be
he could for
sprinting
Washington.
to the podium. Sprinting.
Yeah,
The pick's
Caleb
in.
Downs still available, obviously, as well.
The pick's in already. So I mean, maybe they take Caleb instead. They're both needs. So you really cannot go wrong if you're Washington here with Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs. You have a need for both of them at both positions. That defense, I understand, Jaden Daniels got hurt this year, and that's what everybody's going to point out why the season went off the rails. And that's not incorrect. But that defense was not good. They got old very, very fast. They made a miscalculation when they made that run all the way to the NFC title game. They said, let's get some veterans on defense. Well, they went a little too old with those veterans on defense because they were all hurt and slow. So they need to get younger on defense, especially in the middle of that defense. Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles is a great start.
Yeah.
Sonny, they're both leaders. But Caleb is more of the nebulous, if you will, of a defense. Like, he's the one giving out calls. You're building that defense around Caleb if you bring him in. I don't think that's necessarily the case with Sonny. I think he can fit into so many varieties of defense that he'll absolutely be phenomenal. He can go sideline to sideline. His physical traits allow him to cover when necessary, rush the passer as well. He's brilliant in the run stop also. Caleb can do multiples of those things too, despite people talking about his maybe lack of stature. But Caleb is really the brains of the operation on defense. And, with all of these freaks of nature on the Buckeye defense, he was the green dot. He was the communicator. It was all about and around him. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting, to say the least, who Washington decided to go with here. But looks like the Buckeyes have a real fighting chance to get those 4 guys
4 and 10
here in the top 10.
Yeah. Austin says that does not feel worth it. I kind of agree. We've been talking about it.
I just think he would have been there at 9.
Yeah. And I guess we won't see because we don't have that hindsight.
No.
I agree. I will say, as a Lions fan who is now 10 picks back, I kind of like that there's not been an offensive lineman drafted yet. And there's other teams that feel the same way, that may have been in a situation where they were ready to move up and try to get an offensive lineman. Because, again, you're looking at Washington, New Orleans. Not that they couldn't draft an offensive lineman, but you talked about how bad the Commanders' defense was. They allowed the most yardage in the NFL. They gave up 26.5 points per game. They gave up almost 150 rush yards per game. They gave up almost 250 passing yards per game. It was bad.
There's a lot of needs there.
A lot of needs.
And maybe they would have taken Delane. Like, maybe that was the concern. The only way, Aaron, that I feel like we'll know that was an overpayment is if somehow Jermod McCoy goes in the next couple picks.
Sure.
That's the only way that we'll know, because he's thought of as
happens.
potentially the second best corner. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But that would be the only way we'd have any idea of that being the case. I have Jermod McCoy 16 to the Jets.
Yeah. Yep. I think that is around where we had him in our alternating mock draft as well. So you had Caleb Downs to the Commanders, but again, we didn't think Sonny Styles would be available at this pick either.
And there he is.
There it is. Sonny Styles goes to Washington. We could sing his praises forever. As Buckeye fans, are we biased? Yes. There was maybe one big criticism for Sonny Styles entering 2025, and that was missed tackles. He had 17 missed tackles in 2024. You want to guess how many missed tackles he had in 2025? 2. So really, there's not a lot of holes in his game at all. If there's one criticism, it's that he doesn't play middle linebacker. It's because he plays like off-ball linebacker. Like, that's the only criticism, because it's like theoretically there's more valuable positions out there. That's what we're talking about. It seems so improbable to me. And again, I know I'm just spewing my Buckeye love here, but it seems so improbable to me that Sonny Styles would end up being a bust. Like, the floor is just
these
too
teams are
high
ready.
for this guy. So I love the pick for Washington. If you would have told them, again, you said sprinting to the podium. I 100% agree with that. I think
The Saints
that
are
this worked
too,
out perfectly.
apparently.
Yeah. I agree.
Which means some of these teams that are picking now feel like the teams that somebody in front of them reached, and the domino effect is occurring right now.
Well, speaking of the New Orleans Saints, we want to bring in our friend Michael, who is a fan of the Saints. Michael, what's up, man?
What's up?
Dude, how are you feeling right now? You're picking at 8, and I feel like there's probably some players still available that the Saints were not expecting and are probably happy about.
Yeah, as much as I was kind of hoping for one of the Ohio State players to fall, and Downs is there, and I absolutely love Downs. I don't think safety's really a need for us right now, more so cornerback and edge rusher, and more importantly, wide receiver, which is why I think we go Jordan Tyson here. I know a lot of teams were saying, well, it's reports, we're saying that he was wide receiver 1 in this draft. I guess time will tell, but I think we go Jordan Tyson here because Olave needs some help and Tyler Shough needs some help, and I think they're going to go all in on Shough. They liked what they saw last year, and I think they're going to build on it, and they did some work at free agency for offensive line, so I think they're going wide receiver.
Michael, is that you saying you hope that that's the case with Jordan Tyson, or you think it'll be Jordan Tyson?
Honestly, I would love Caleb Downs. I would personally rather have Caleb Downs. I think he is an absolute game changer, and I like you guys were just talking about. He's one of those guys you build the defense around, and he's so smart. I mean, at Ohio State watching him play, he's just ridiculous. But I think the smartest thing, this is where you got to balance best available versus team needs, and I think Jordan Tyson's a little bit of both. So I think that's what they're gonna go him. But yeah, I mean, if Arvell Research Funny Styles was here, then I'm probably going with them because we need some rushing help and some kind of linebacker help. Since my favorite Demario Davis is now a Jet once again, very sad about that. He was an absolute anchor on our team, and we signed Caden Ellis. I know he's not going to be able to live up to fill those shoes, but we'll hope our best there.
Yeah. To the point about the Buckeyes, Dave says, how did the Buckeyes not get to the national championship again last year? My goodness. Your thoughts are our thoughts.
Well, winning back-to-back's really tough. These guys all won a national championship.
Yep.
Like, back-to-back is really, really tough.
Yeah. Michael,
But
while we wait
yes,
on the Saints
Still our sentiment.
Yeah, absolutely. While we wait on the Saints to, or really the commissioner to walk up, what are kind of the vibes heading into the season? Because it was, I don't know, maybe an expected down year, but then Tyler Shuck kind of played pretty well, which turned some heads. Like, I was a little bit surprised. Like, I don't know if John and I were super high on that pick when it happened.
No,
because it felt like they just right, and it felt like, well, we need a quarterback, so I guess we have to take one. But it really worked out. Like, what are the thoughts heading into this season, especially in the division that you guys are in?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you draft a guy that's like 26-year-old rookie, it's a little scary. I mean, it's not as bad as the Browns drafting Brandon Weeden when he was like 29 years old or whatever, but it's a little scary. We definitely caught some flack for that pick, especially when you're like, this guy's probably about the same skill level as Rattler. Like, why waste a pick? Just let Rattler ride it out all year. And that's kind of the sentiment I was going. It was a fun year to watch because I was kind of just rooting for them to lose every game. I was like, we were keeping some games close, and I was like, let's just lose all year and get a good pick. And then Shook started ruining at the end of the year and winning games. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, come on. But honestly, it's exciting. It's fine. It's good to have hope again because since Breeze left, it's just there's been no hope. Like it's been terrible. It's not as bad as, like you said, some of those top 6 teams that are there every single year. Not as bad as that, but it's been rough. And when you don't have a QB, it's kind of hard. Like it's kind of hard to have any hope.
Yeah, and I hope they continue to build around him. The defense, metric-wise, was not that bad, especially for how not great the offense was as a whole. Talked about the entire season. They finished basically middle of the road in most of the categories. They were 4th in pass defense, so that's
Chase Young stepped it up. He had a great year, especially near the end of the year. I was very excited when we signed him, and he had an interesting first year, not too great, but that second year he had a great year, and he earned some more money in an extension, so good for him. But we lost Cam Jordan and Alontae Taylor, and Alontae Taylor's gonna honestly, Cam Jordan was getting old. Demario Davis getting old, but still really good. Alontae Taylor's the biggest gap I think we have to fill. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go a cornerback sometime in the next 2 rounds, probably with maybe that guy from Duke. I can't remember his name, but he's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the second best corner is Jermod McCoy. He was out pretty much the whole year this last year from Tennessee, though, but Jordan Tyson also, man, that dude's been dealing with injuries too. So I mean, Michael, is that the main thing that gives you some cause for concern when it comes to Jordan Tyson? I know that is what it is for me because it's not just a one injury, it's multiple over multiple years. When he's on the field, he's brilliant, but any cause for concern with that one?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, last year we were throwing to some people I didn't even know were on the team at some games. I was like, who the heck is this guy catching the ball? Like, what's going on here? I mean, we've got Devon Vele, so we've got like some height. We've got Olave had a brilliant year, but yeah, we're so thin that you add a guy with injuries, and it's definitely a cause for concern because, I mean, we can't afford many people to go down. Obviously, Olave had a lot of injury history thanks to Derek Carr, but yeah, so we're a little thin. They signed Noah Fant, so we have like 2 mid tight ends, and yeah, we can't afford to lose too many people, but very excited about the new run game, hopefully being better this year with Travis A-Chain now? That's going to get confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently.
That's what he said. That's how you actually pronounce his last
Yeah.
name. I don't know why he waited so long
I
to
don't know why he
correct
did that.
everybody.
It's pretty funny, honestly. But now that he's going back home to Nolans, he's putting some cayenne pepper in his gumbo, and he's A-Chain now. So he's back.
I'm just like, man, if that's how you say your name, correct people.
I know,
Like,
yeah,
why
right.
didn't you correct people at
Why would
Clemson?
we get Devon A-Chain and him mixed up, and it's gonna get
Yeah.
real confusing. It's like,
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that's how you pronounce his name. I would have never.
No, no,
Yeah.
not at all.
The figure skater Alyssa Liu also came out after the Olympics and said, like, yeah, that's not how you say my first or last name. I was like, come on. Why tell this now? All right. The
Yeah, tell
commissioner's
us
at-
before.
Yeah. Which apparently she is not bothered by it. So I guess good for her. But I was like, man, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I feel like that would drive me nuts. All right. Commissioners at the podium to announce pick number 8 for the New Orleans Saints.
Let's see it.
And it will be, yes, the camera zooms out dramatically. I mean, that camera, what are we doing? That camera is still zooming out. All right. I guess just to show the 200,000 people that are in Pittsburgh, I guess. All right. And the Saints have
There
selected
it is.
Yep.
Good call.
Jordan Tyson.
All right. Well, hey, we get a fourth place schedule this year. So,
Yeah.
you know, it could be. There's always those teams that like have the fourth place schedules and like we're just down because injuries. Like Commanders, they could be scary this year, especially add Sonny Styles. If they have a good draft with a fourth place schedule, they could be dangerous this year. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Michael, thank you for joining us. Best of luck to your Saints.
Yes.
The NFC South, as always, is very
It's
winnable.
a-
so
it's a
go
roller
get it.
coaster.
Go get it.
Thank you. You
All
guys
right,
have
man.
a good
We'll
one.
talk to you later.
Keep it up.
Thanks, Michael.
All right. The Browns are on the clock. And to really talk about the Cleveland Browns, we have to do it a little bit of justice. So I want to set the clock back. January 1st, 2018, the Browns go 0-16. Our friend Jim and some of his Browns fans, diehard fans, properly eulogized the season. All right, Jim, we bring you in. We had some technology issues getting the whole thing to play. My favorite part of that video was that the hope for that next year was win one game, and boy, we can't wait to draft a quarterback again. Fast forward now, we're in 2026. There was a playoff appearance in there, but unfortunately more of the Browns being the Browns. But you're here now, and apparently you got a couple extra picks from Kansas City, and I feel like based on who's still available, probably still get the player that the Browns want. Who that is, we're about to find out. But as you sit here with the Browns on the clock at number 9, is there a name that pops into your mind that you want the Browns to take, or a position that you're looking for, or just what are the thoughts there?
Well, thanks for having me on. I
Of
am
course.
a lifelong diehard Cleveland sports fan. Browns, Cavs, Indians, and finally the Cavs got me a championship. Still waiting on a World Series for the Tribe and Super Bowl for the Browns, but here we go. Maybe something will happen in this year's draft. I've thought all along the Browns looking for some offensive help. They have really had to retool their offensive line. I learned a long time ago, football is won in the trenches.
Yeah.
Defensive line, offensive line. Browns had some good offensive lines in the recent past, and now they've had to retool it. And so I'm thinking that they're going to go with this. For instance, Mananoa as maybe the top tackle that's left, surprisingly, that he's still there here at number 9.
Yep.
I kind of was leaning towards Tate, but he's gone, but that's okay. I think there's some other good wide receivers. I think the Browns at this point in time maybe have a decent quarterback with Shadur Sanders. He showed last year at the end of the year that he can win football, but improving that offensive line, I think, would be important for him to really show what he can do, and then giving him some offensive weapons to throw to will really be something to help out the Browns.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And just if you just look at the statistics, like the Browns allow 51 sacks, that was bottom 6 in the NFL. They were 31st in the NFL in passing yards. So the two things you just said, wide receiver and offensive line, will help with that. We talked about the wide receivers. There's 2 of the top 8 picks, wide receivers. No offensive linemen yet. which
Exactly.
I'm very surprised by. So, and maybe that was
Yeah.
part of the Browns' reasoning for being willing to drop back and again pick up a couple draft picks from the Chiefs. But I like where they're at in terms of who's still available for the Browns. I think they're in a pretty good spot.
I'm always optimistic about this time of year. It doesn't take long for that first game in September to ruin that optimism, but I'm hopeful for 2026 that it's going to be a decent year. I grew up in Cleveland. I lived the first 20 years of my life in Cleveland. At 4 years old, 1957, in the first round, the Browns drafted Jim Brown. I kind of remember it, but not really.
That's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, I remember the Browns winning the NFL championship in 1964. They beat the Baltimore Colts 27-0. I do remember watching that on TV, and that was a neat experience as a Browns fan.
Wow. That's really special.
That is
Johnny,
special.
just to go back to your mock draft real quick. Originally, you had Carnell Tate when the Browns were at 6. At 9, which is where the Browns are now, you had Spencer Fano, which in a lot of people's mind is the second best offensive tackle out there right now.
Yeah, that's what a wonderful spot for the Browns to be in. I actually think they played this beautifully. They're still going to get exactly what they want, and it's who they think is the best tackle in the draft, who I think is Maui Noah, but Fano is also a really good tackle, and I'd be surprised with the 2 top wide receivers off the board if that wasn't the move.
Yeah, and the commissioners.
The other thing,
they did go Fano.
They
Spencer
went with
Fano was
Fano.
the pick.
the pick is in.
Yeah. The Browns select Spencer Fano, offensive tackle from Utah. So clearly they felt that was the better of the 2 options there. But again, Jim, you said offensive lineman, and that's exactly where they go with Spencer Fano.
I'm okay with that. I had a hunch that maybe they would go Caleb Downs, but I think the offensive line is where they need to focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
If
No,
you think
I
Shedeur has a
agree. That
chance-
defense is fine, especially if
The
the
defense
defense
is
gets a
fine.
little bit of offensive help that they don't have to shut teams out. What could that defense actually be capable of if they're not on the field for, 3/4 of the game?
Exactly. Well, that's good. I'm happy with that choice.
I think it's a great pick.
Fine.
There's a good pedigree of Utah players who have proven that they can not only perform really well in college, which he did, but they can make it in the NFL as well. So I like that pick a lot for Cleveland. Jim, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate
You're welcome,
getting your
guys.
thoughts on the pick, and thanks for sharing the history of your fan experience with the Browns. It's one that a lot of people can resonate with, and I'm hoping that Fano and some of the other selections yet to come, because there's 9 total picks for the Browns this year, help get you guys on the right foot in 2026.
Thanks, guys. One of my most special possessions is this autographed card of Jim Brown.
Wow.
When I met him in person. Met him in person about 30 years ago.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing.
That's
that.
pretty
great.
incredible.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
Thanks,
Good
Jim.
rest of the night. Peace.
Enjoy
Thank
the
you.
draft.
Thank you. I will.
All right.
Aaron,
The
the
Giants-
Giants just sprinted to
Oh,
the podium.
oh my
There's
gosh.
Francis Maui Noah.
Yeah.
They said who's left?
Yeah.
And-
Okay.
So, unfortunately for us Buckeye fans, that
Yep.
means the 4 in the top 10 dream is dead. That is gone. I am a little surprised, not because offensive line's not a need for the Giants, and maybe this is just, I can't believe he's here, so we're taking him, and best player available type of pick. Whereas if Maui Noah is gone, maybe even if it's Fano, they are taking Caleb Downs. It can be that simple sometimes as the draft goes on, as you're reacting to, well, we had, Francis Maui Noah rated as our 3rd overall player, or our 4th overall player. I can't believe he's here. Let's go get him.
We've got a trade.
Maybe they wanted Jordan Tyson.
Oh, Johnny, we've got a trade. Miami's trading this pick to the Dallas
Ooh.
Cowboys. I
Just one
would think
move.
Dallas is going Caleb Downs here. Their defense was so
Yes.
bad. It was so
They're
bad.
making sure they get him and not Miami.
Yep. Now, I think Miami needs a
'Cause-
wide receiver. We'll get into that. Again, Dallas,
Yeah.
why teams do
Miami's
this, I don't
terrible, though.
They are terrible. We'll get into this, but Dallas is on the clock.
They
Again,
need
I
help
think it's
everywhere.
Caleb Downs. But Maui Noah,
yeah.
that's
It
a
absolutely is.
tremendous pick for the Giants. So remember 5 and 10. So the
It's a
Giants
lot-
get
yes.
Arvell Reese. I mean, the Giants get Arvell Reese and Francis Maui Noah, who in a lot of mock drafts would have both been top 5 players. And
Yeah,
on
Aaron,
a lot of
I'm
big boards
ticked.
too. Yeah. Well, yeah, there you
I'm
go.
ticked. There's
Caleb
my
Downs is
answer.
available.
Caleb Downs was sitting there.
Yeah.
Ruben Bain was sitting there. Heck, if you wanted to even say, you know what, we still need to protect Burrow better, you could have had
Maui Noah.
Maui Noah.
Yeah.
Like, stupid Bengals.
Yeah. You can hear our full
Oh.
thoughts on that again. The Fifth and Goal Sports podcast. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. It's available on YouTube as well. We have a new Fifth and Goal podcast channel where we upload all of our episodes. So go check that out. Subscribe there. I was getting ready for this show, and I saw that there were some comments on it, which we'll talk about next week. But there was some people basically trolling you, saying, "Really, Caleb Downs would make that much of a difference?" I think he would.
Yes.
I think
Yes, he would. He absolutely would, because you don't even have a leader on that defense right now. And they're bad everywhere, but that secondary for the Bengals is an abomination. And the safeties can't tackle worth a lick. So
Yeah,
would it
Tulsa
make a
really
difference? I think so. The communication alone would be better. But anyway, let's get back to this. Dallas makes that trade with Miami because they're afraid Jeff Halfley and that Miami team, bad, very bad. So they're just going to probably be looking best player available. Do they need wide receiver? Of course. You also need everything else. So right now, like I was thinking Miami, originally I had them at 11, taking Mansour Delane. With the top corner out of the way, he's gone. I think that made Dallas a little bit more worried that they were going to take Caleb Downs then. Easily, in my opinion, at this point, the best player available.
Yep.
And I think that would have been an excellent selection for Miami. And I doubt Dallas gave Miami a lot. So I actually might not like this trade if I'm Miami, depending on what the price was. Because this is the difference between you getting Caleb Downs and you not getting Caleb Downs.
I believe the difference was 2 fifth round picks is what it looks like.
See, I don't know. Maybe you take Ruben Bain and you're happy with that.
And that could,
I
to be
don't
fair,
know.
we're saying Caleb Downs' name a lot. Ruben Bain could also be the answer here. And I said on the podcast this week, I thought Ruben Bain just kind of screamed Dallas Cowboy to me, but we'll see. By the way, comment.
I'm going to assume Caleb Downs, but we'll see.
I would agree. One of
Those
the
could be
comments
the
that
next
we-
2 picks.
Yeah, agreed. That was said was go Browns, good pick. We both agree. Reminder, we're gonna do a merch giveaway. In fact, let's do the merch giveaway here soon. We'll do it after the Dolphins pick at 12. That way, so if you are not in the merch giveaway, the link is in the description of this video. It should be in the chat. Let me post it one more time. So yeah, just jot your name down. Pick which item you would like to win if you win, and then we'll reach out if you're the winner. I will pick the winner here in a couple picks. I told Johnny before the show, don't let me forget, because not last year, but the last time we did this, I forgot that we were doing a merch giveaway, even though I was talking about it because I was so engrossed with the draft, and then it was like the 25th pick, and we made it happen. It all worked out, but that is there. So enter that if you want to, and also again, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It'd help us out a lot. We'd appreciate it, and thanks for being here. It's good to have you guys all here. Appreciate all the comments as well as we roll on and wait for this long commercial to pass, so we figure out who the
They're all
Dallas
long
Cowboys
commercials.
are drafting. Overarching thoughts through 10 picks, just a breakdown of the positions. I think is, maybe not the order we thought, but you've got now 2 offensive linemen. You have, your edge rushers. You have Sonny Styles. You've got your 2 wide receivers. You had your running back, which we thought would go in the top 10. We just didn't think maybe to Arizona. So I think there's no surprises necessarily in the top 10 in terms of names, because I'm looking at all the check
Right.
marks I have right here, and
It's just the
check
order.
mark, check mark. Yeah. Like right now, your
Kind of
mock
like
draft,
what we said.
you have 10 of the top 11 picks, and if Caleb Downs gets picked here, like we think he might, you went 11 for 11 in terms of which 11 players would get drafted first. Like not necessarily the right order, but who's going to be right 11
Right.
times in a row? Probably nobody. And if they're telling you that, they're probably lying to you. But you
It
know?
looks rough for most people outside of the top 2 picks.
Yeah.
I think Arbel Reese, David Bailey felt like a little bit of a toss-up at 2 to the Jets. And then after that, and we said this at the beginning, there really wasn't a whole lot of mystery on who was going in the top 10 to 12 picks. It was, we have no idea what this order is. And I think we've been reinforced that there was a lot of misinformation to throw people off the scent on who they wanted. So I think for me, the number one takeaway right now is I think the Browns are one of the winners right now. You get the tackle you want and you trade back.
Yeah.
So you get additional picks away from Kansas City. I think Kansas City unnecessarily trades up, and the Browns still get exactly who they want. That's brilliant. That's what you've seen a lot out of like Howie Roseman in Philadelphia. Here's the Cowboys. They flipped spots, and oh yeah, you said they gave the 2 fifth-round picks for this season. I don't know if that's worth it if you're Miami. If you're Miami, not if you're Dallas,
correct.
mind you.
Yeah, I don't know. The jumping 1 pick up always confuses me a little bit. Like, really, the Cowboys or the Dolphins wouldn't tell you who they're picking? I don't know. That's always interesting to me. As the commissioners at
If it's Caleb Downs, it feels pretty evident that they were worried. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, Caleb Downs, Ohio State, is a Dallas Cowboy. I think that just makes a lot of sense for Dallas. Miami will move to 12. I'm writing this all down so I don't forget. So, yeah, Johnny, hats off to you. 11 for 11 in terms of, yeah, as close to 11 for 11 as you can be. So you had Ruben Bain.
No,
at
one of the
number 12.
rougher top 10s I think I've had since we've been doing this as far as actually getting them right.
Well,
but in fairness, I think a lot of those years I did better. It was fairly evident what the top 4 or 5 were looking like. But yeah, so all the guys that I thought were going to be off the board are off the board. I know that will not continue, especially when we get into the back end of this first round. But I do think there's a really, really strong chance here that Ruben Bain is the guy off the board here. Miami, if you are taking best available, we're looking at a Ruben Bain. If you are going at most severe need, Mekhi Lemon is interesting. Or if Jeff Hafley's going to stay in his realm, maybe even Jermod McCoy, corner.
Sure. I was going to say wide receiver, and I said this on the podcast because I just can't get past how glaring of a weakness the wide receiver room is right now. Like, you listen, viewers watching, without cheating, name me a current Miami Dolphins wide receiver. There's your trivia question for the night. Name a current Miami Dolphins wide receiver without cheating. And obviously there's no way I can guarantee that you're not cheating, so I'll just assume that we're all upstanding citizens. I couldn't until I really dove into this wide receiver room. So it's such an obvious need that it jumps out, and you do have Mekhi Lemon still there. Now, would they have been more willing to make a wide receiver pick had Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson been there? Yes, I think so. I don't think there's any world in which Carnell Tate was going to be there. Maybe you thought Tyson could be there. So that's interesting. And you do, for what it's worth, have Lemon going to the Rams, who are up after this pick, after the Dolphins.
Yeah. I do feel pretty good about who I have in the next 5 picks, potentially going in those next 5 picks. Again, who knows about the order, maybe. I feel strongly about a few of them that we'll get to a little bit later. But yeah, the Dolphins, these are two, it's funny that they're drafting next to each other, and this is just what trades do. Obviously, Miami actually is picking this low, and then the Rams are picking because this is a pick from Atlanta. The Rams were the second best team in the league last year.
Yeah.
The NFC Championship game was the championship. Like, that was the Super Bowl. So you're looking to work on the peripheries. What can we add to make you a little bit better?
Logan, we're bringing you in.
And if you are... Oh.
What's up, man?
Oh, Logan.
Oh, am I in?
You're in.
You're in.
You made it.
We're already in. Sorry, I'm late, boys. I do apologize.
No, you're good. The Dolphins traded a pick, so you're good.
We're
We're
right on
we're
time.
sort of semi-strategically putting you in here because obviously you've got the Denver gear on. Denver does not have a first-round pick in this draft currently because they traded with the Miami Dolphins, and it's one of the reasons why the Dolphins have such a chasm at the wide receiver position. So, we're going to transition a little bit and talk some Broncos because what a year they put together. We'll get this Dolphins pick in as well. We'll talk about that because again, I think they go maybe a wide receiver here, maybe Reuben Bain. But Denver, heck of a run. It ends in tragedy. But talk about the future a little bit, Logan, like with this Denver team and some of the optimism you guys have heading into this year.
Gosh, it's supposed to be draft night, and I'm already thinking of tragedy because I can't tell you. I was texting some fellow Bronco fans that Buffalo Bills night, and I have never felt such highs and lows in a 22-minute span in my life. It was like I just watched Bo Nix outduel Josh Allen. I just watched another great fourth quarter comeback. I watched Sean Payton call a complete game. And I was so ecstatic about where this team was going. I watched the Patriots look horrific, and I said, this is going to be a cruise. And then my dear wife says, it says Bo Nix broke his ankle. And I said, no, honey, stop following fake. You can't look at fake stuff. You got to ignore that. And then it comes through on my phone, and it was just, I think, silence in here for a good hour and a half. It was the best Broncos win we've had in the last decade, followed by just absolute sadness. But to your point, there's so much optimism. Who thinks that year two of Bo Nix, where we're talking about we're 4 points from the Super Bowl with a quarterback who gave New England their only touchdown in the game, right? Jarrett Stidham had to have a minor stroke and then throw the football back. And that's what happens. But here's the thing, and I got to give you guys credit because 2 years ago on this night, I am in my living room screaming to draft Brock Bowers. I said, there is no reason to draft a quarterback, a system quarterback from Oregon who couldn't make it in the SEC. I don't want him. And I make a big post saying, what are we doing? And I believe it's Johnny who responds to that and
I loved College Bo. I loved College Bo.
Johnny responds to that and says, I actually love this fit. And I was like, okay, thanks for the sympathy support, but not needed. I'm mad. Here we are 2 years later. Johnny was 100% right. Sean Payton got his quarterback. And so needed to give some flowers to you there, Johnny. But
thank you. Happy to be right eventually on something.
Well, and I got to say, right, I will say this. I don't think we're talking about the same Bo Nix in any other system outside of what Sean Payton has built around him. I think that was the right fit. I think it works well. I think he plays to those strengths. So a lot of optimism. Also, we do indeed have a first-round pick. He's a 5'10", 185-pound speedster wide receiver out of Houston, Texas. His name is Jalen Waddle, and he is my favorite first-round pick in quite some time because when I look at the offense, what I saw down the stretch is I saw a big body possession receiver in Cortland Sutton who has great hands except on third downs in the playoffs. So outside of that major flaw, you got a possession receiver. Everybody loves Cortland Sutton. He's been there for forever, right? And then you've got a couple of these gadget guys. You've got Troy Franklin. You've got Marvin Mims. You got Pat Bryant, who showed really nice flashes before getting hurt. But here's what I think people are missing. Jalen Waddle was severely hampered, in my opinion, by Tua's inefficiencies and his own deficiencies. I think we have not seen the best version of Jalen Waddle since that 2022-2023 season due to all of the Miami Dolphins offensive struggles. I think of what the Broncos needed and what we did not have last year was a guy who could get constant separation. Cortland Sutton could not separate from me. He moves like an ice cream truck. I love him to death. But his like he just doesn't get separation. He doesn't. And then you've got, Troy Franklin at times could get separation, but just not consistent, not very polished in his routes. I mean, he was a rookie. I get that. Marvin Mims, we still haven't figured out how to use entirely correctly. I think what the Broncos needed so much was a guy in the slot who could give you just a little slant route. And who better to utilize a slant guy than Sean Payton, Michael Thomas. All I'm saying is I think he fits the offense perfectly. I think he's exactly what Bo needs. I think his contract is phenomenal for what we were able to have Miami pay. You look at the value there, I was fine with the first round pick. I thought it was fair. I think it's fine. I've got some questions on the running game. I do. I like J.K. Dobbins. So far, anyone making the bet on J.K. Dobbins to stay healthy for a season has never made money on that bet. So we're rolling that dice again. I think he's a character locker room guy, so I like that bet. The offensive line is still incredible. A little bit. The tackles are aging, but it's good. The defense is better than another. I love Vance. I'm surprised we kept Vance. I just knew he would get a head coaching job, so I'm happy he's still here. I love what the defense is doing. I hope we lead the league in sacks again. There's two things that I want to see differently. One, we're guaranteed to see differently. The play calling. I was very frustrated at times. Sean Payton is too smart for his own good. And I think that he looks at things and he's just like, I'm going to big brain this. This is going to be a genius thing. And they're going to write about it for years. And I'm like, what did we just do? What was that? And so I think I would say 85 to 90% of Broncos country wanted Davis Webb to take. This was like best case scenario. We retained Davis Webb. He takes over at play calling. Nobody thought Sean Payton would do that. So big surprise there. Excited what he will do with the offense. And the other thing I'd like to see is every year this Broncos defense starts off so hot and then it kind of gets figured out. And then what you start to see is like week 13, week 14, week 15, week 16, we're giving up 300-yard games. And we just kind of taper down towards the end of the year. And this is a problem that we've had with Joseph in the past. So, and I wonder if that's why he struggles to land that head coaching job, because down the stretch when those interviews are happening, our defense isn't looking as great. So I want to see continued defense success throughout the year and not just at the beginning of the year. But I'm optimistic. The schedule will be harder. I won't say that it won't be. I'd love to address what I'd like to see with pick 63 is I really think inside linebacker. I would love, there's a couple different targets in that range that I would be really, really thrilled with. I'd love an inside linebacker. I think we need a lot of depth at that position. I think we do need to address running back. Offensive line is not getting any younger. But I'll tell you what, if we're having this conversation last year, I'm not telling you guys, I think we're going to be playing for the AFC Championship game, right? So that was a lot of word salad. That was a lot of thoughts at once.
I was going to say amen to the end of that.
There's a Broncos. There's the book of the Broncos for the 2025-26 season.
Yep, leave your offerings on the way
I'm
out.
glad you feel better about you trading your first round pick away than I do.
I like it.
All right, but here's the thing. And
No. I mean, as a Bengals fan, compared to my team trading away our first round pick. Sorry.
Real quick.
No,
let me
the Waddle
slide
trade's
in
fine.
here that
Go ahead, Aaron.
Caden Proctor went to the Miami Dolphins. So
like
as
that.
a Lions fan, I'm a little nervous that maybe we don't have a great offensive lineman options when it finally gets to us, but UNA is still there from Penn State, so that's what I'm fingers crossed there. The Rams are on the clock. The pick is apparently in. We're getting shots of Ty Simpson for some unknown reason because we keep pushing this narrative.
People keep
that the Rams
talking
didn't
about-
draft him.
I thought Ty Simpson was going third overall. What happened to third overall Ty Simpson?
No, that would have been insane.
Yeah, the Cardinals
Cardinals
probably would
might
have, but
still
they
get
saw
him.
Jeremiah Love and couldn't resist. So, anyways,
Yeah, a lot of
Johnny,
craziness
you were
going
asking
on.
a question about trades. And
No,
stuff.
no, I like the Waddle trade. I think when you're a team, when you realize you're in your winning window, I think draft picks are commodities that should be traded away to get specific needs that you need, and that's what the Rams do. And wow, they did draft the heir apparent. That
No,
is
they did
shocking.
not. No, they did not. Tyson's
did.
in.
Guys, that's the shock of the draft.
Oh,
That's the shock of the draft so far. Like easily the shock of the draft.
I'm shocked by that.
Yeah, that's
This
wild. 13th? They could have traded back, man.
I don't like that at all.
No. Well, okay, hold on. I don't like it because they have other needs that they could have enhanced
You're trying to
their
win the Super
current
Bowl this year.
winning. Right, exactly. They're in a winning window right now. From the Rams' perspective, I don't love it. From Ty Simpson's perspective, best case scenario.
Yeah.
That's
Best
true.
case scenario. Like, you get to sit behind Stafford for a year or two, probably two, and you don't have to go out there and get killed, and you have a good offensive coach, and they Snead keeps putting together good rosters. This is the best case scenario for Ty Simpson. I don't get it from a Rams perspective because go get somebody to help you right now, like Mekhi Lemon. But wow. That's shocking.
I'm a Sean McVay guy. He'll do him good stuff. I mean,
I guess. I just think I don't know. Like, how many years I don't get it. Your top 3 odds to win the Super Bowl. How do you not bolster something that helps you win right now?
well, I think they saw what the Falcons did, and they were like, "Man, that Michael Penix pick was so good. Let's just try that." Maybe
The
that's
Michael
the-
Penix pick and the Kirk Cousins contract combined.
Yeah, but Kirk Cousins, you can't dislike the guy.
Oh,
So
absolutely not.
No.
I don't know how a man has made that much money, but he certainly
Brilliant.
has pulled it off. What a
The
pick.
concern about Ty Simpson, outside of just like you want to nitpick, some of his mechanics and things. I think this is what has been talked about the most, and I agree with, is 1-year starters at quarterback. Yeah, I really am very concerned about it. And Logan, you talked about your concern with Bo, but one of the reasons I had a lot of belief in him was he was starting as a freshman.
Yeah.
And he had, I don't know if he still has the record for most wins, but when he finished at Oregon, he had the most victories as a starting quarterback in college football history. And so he just had so much experience and wealth of knowledge that I really just believed in Bo getting the ball out on time and on target. And that was from reps, live game reps. And Ty, that doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability. But he doesn't have the live game reps, and that doesn't mean he can't succeed. I think it means it's more likely he doesn't, though. But this is a great landing spot. He doesn't have to play right away.
Yep.
Like,
I mean,
him going to the Cardinals would have been awful. That would have been terrible for him. No offensive line, one weapon, well, 2 weapons now, but just not a lot to work with. This is I feel good for him.
I do too.
I'll look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, and
He
my
has a
shock isn't like
much higher likelihood to succeed.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
That's a wild pick. We and everyone else will be talking about that pick for the next
Yeah, that's
forever, because like throughout the season, that's going to be the constant thing. Anytime the Rams lose a game, it's like, oh, well, imagine if you had Mekhi Lemon, especially if he goes somewhere like maybe Baltimore, who's up next, and does well there. Logan, before we let you go, I want to ask record prediction Broncos 2026.
we'll take a step back. Any team that wins as many one-loss games or one possession games that we did, you saw the Chiefs do that same thing, and then it kind of flipped for them this last year. So I think it's unrealistic to expect what we did, but I really like somewhere in the ballpark of, I gotta think. I really like something like 12 and I think 12 wins. I like 12 wins. I would settle. I think anywhere from that 11 to 12 win mark. I'm sitting in there. I think I think that's fair. I think it's fair. I think probably it's more than likely. I like 11 wins. Pencil us in for 11 wins. I'm not saying we're going to be first in the AFC West again. That was fun. I did enjoy that. But are we seriously going to sit here and say that we expect Patrick Mahomes to miss the playoffs in back-to-back seasons? No, right? Nobody's expecting that. I don't think. I think the Chargers will improve. I am not really worried about the Raiders in whatsoever fashion. But I think the Chargers will improve. I think we will also improve. Yeah, I mean, I like 11 wins. That's the long answer.
I like it. Logan, as always, thanks for being here, man. Always good to talk to you.
love
Get
it.
your thoughts on
It's a
the
joy.
Broncos.
It's so
Appreciate
fun.
the passion. It's great.
If you think about it, guys, we have shared some monumental moments on this. I remember so many years ago when I was so sure that we were drafting Justin Fields, and I was so pumped for this moment that we were going to all share together. And he reads Patrick Surtain, and I lost it. And I
Aren't you
was
so
just
happy
so-
it
and
worked
now
out the way it did,
it's
Logan?
like, boy, I have a horrible record. I have a horrible track record on draft night. So
Yeah, if you're mad, that's good.
that's
Yeah.
a good sign. I generally need to be upset with the pick.
That's
So,
right. Well,
but
hopefully
anyway,
tomorrow around pick 50, you're just absolutely
I'm,
loaded.
I'm just furious. Hopefully so. Boys, keep it up. It's always a pleasure. I enjoy being on the show with you guys.
We'll do.
Thanks, Logan.
That was a good time.
Enjoy the
Thanks,
draft,
Logan.
man.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. See you guys.
See ya. All right. Well, I've got bad news for myself because the Ravens have
That was the
selected-
one I felt good about.
Well, yeah, you got that right.
Yeah.
Yoen,
I felt pretty
keep butchering
strongly
this
about that
pronunciation,
one.
But yeah, he goes to the Ravens. Yoene, there it is.
felt
you
strong
nailed
about
it
that.
at 14. And it makes sense for the Ravens. Like, again, could you have gone
Mm-hmm.
weapon? Yes. But most of all, try to keep Lamar Jackson
That's not
healthy.
their issue. Yeah.
Try to keep the running game strong like it was last year because they couldn't pass the ball. Now Lamar's injuries, big reason for that, but they couldn't pass the ball last year. Got to give them some time. So that leaves Tampa Bay.
And they
coming
lost
up at number
Linderbaum.
15.
They lost
Yeah, good point.
Linderbaum.
Yep, he's a Las
have-
Vegas Raider.
Like, and Ione is not necessarily a center, but you need to fill in the gap there in the interior if you're the Ravens. You're right. You got to keep Lamar Jackson upright and healthy. And honestly, the weapons are not the reason that they're losing these critical moments. There's enough to work with weapon wise, in my opinion, for the Ravens. So
I agree.
I like this pick. This was one of the picks. I think if you had asked me in the entirety of the draft, I might have felt the best about, just because the value here. You're not picking an interior offensive lineman usually anywhere near the top 10. This is about as high as you ever would go. If it's the need, it's a good value. A lot of people think he's actually the best offensive lineman in this draft. Again, it's about position of need, but the value of the position is not necessarily fitting. That's why we're talking about off-ball linebackers, safeties, interior offensive linemen, the positions that are vital, but people just don't seem to value them to the same extent as a pass rusher or offensive tackle. And so that is where you're seeing maybe the best offensive lineman in the draft goes to 14 instead of being picked in the top 4 or 5. It's just because he's probably a guard and not a tackle, but he's a monster. We'll probably talk about this if some Clemson players get drafted, which I expect in the second half of this first round. Don't let the final record of their team deceive you into the talent and skill level of these players. And I actually give Penn State players a lot of credit in seeing the season out. That could have gone off the rails even more so after Franklin got fired, and a lot of it is because of guys like IOA. So, yeah, he was fantastic. Going back a little bit, Aaron, to your guy, Caden Proctor's gone. I know that's who I had penciled into the Lions. I wasn't expecting the Dolphins. I don't have that as a bad pick, mind you. And that's clearly the Dolphins just saying that was the best available we had probably out on the board. Proctor's had some consistency issues. He's really, really good in the run game. Pass pro is hit or miss sometimes, but dude's a mountain.
Yeah.
So, and he's also super young. I believe I don't even know if he's 21.
think you're
I don't
correct.
even know if he's 21 yet.
Yeah.
So I think you see the physical traits there, and you're like, I think if we get him in our locker room, we can teach him up. So that he's a little bit more unpolished, but I know he was probably the guy you were hoping for, Aaron, as the third best tackle at 17. He's off the board sooner than you would have expected.
Yeah, which is interesting. Ruben Bain is not off the board. Now, we've got a few picks before the Lions get there, but, again, I kind of came into tonight thinking offensive lineman or edge rusher. We'll get into the Lions here in a bit. I want to go back even further because Noah dropped a chat for us. He's, again, at the draft, so he talked with us earlier. He says, for the Giants, I'm happy with the Reese pick. Didn't think he'd be there at number 5. Agreement there. A little disappointed in the Maui Noah pick over Downs, especially with Downs going to Dallas. Now, I understand how that would feel bad because you get to try to play and throw against him 2 times a year now. But again, you're trying to keep Jackson Dart alive. Now, Dart needs to keep himself alive. It's a two-way street here. But I think Maui Noah being at number 10 and getting him, I think maybe the thought was Downs all along. But then with Maui Noah still there, how do you pass that up? So I like it a lot. And I highlighted this chat earlier, but Austin said, I get the Rams have needs, but Ty can sit for a couple years and hopefully learn a lot. Agreed in terms of him learning. Like, there is literally no better spot for him to go. So if there was a chance for Ty Simpson, because let's be honest, Ty Simpson in Arizona or with the Jets or, I mean, even the Steelers, it's like, what? That gets kind of murky
not as
quick.
bad, but you got to play so much sooner.
Yeah, like he'd be expected to play
Yeah.
day one, assuming Aaron Rodgers doesn't appear.
You
from
beat
his
out Will
darkness
Howard.
retreat.
I think they'd have a real competition with Will Howard, actually. But yes, yeah.
Yeah.
You draft
Well,
somebody also in the first round, and there's just that expectation that you pick him. Oh,
Yeah, we've got a pick in. It's Ruben Bain to Tampa Bay. So you had Akeem Mesidor because you thought Ruben Bain would be gone. So correct on the Miami edge rusher pick because, Bain does fall to number 15. So he'll just stay in the state of Florida and help out the Buccaneers, which is a big deal for them. I think they would have, again, you talk about the beginning of this
They gotta
draft,
be
you tell the
happy.
Buccaneers, Bain's just going to fall to you, pick number 15. They would be elated. That was the biggest need that we kind of had on our board for the Buccaneers, who had 37 sacks last year. Really good against the run, really poor against the pass. So Bain will help certainly the latter category. Now, there's an interesting thing with Ruben Bain. If you believe all of the talk about metrics and, combine stuff. So Ruben Bain, concerns over short arms. And I know you've heard this before. You've heard small hands for quarterbacks. You've heard all this. And if you're kind of rolling your eyes at that, I get it. For the most part, I kind of agree. But here is a stat to back up why maybe Ruben Bain fell to 15. And I say fall. It's not really a fall. It's just kind of how it all turned out. But since 1999, no drafted player with arms shorter than 31 inches, which Bain's are shorter than 31 inches, has had a double-digit sack season. So Bain will try to rewrite that history, but he's got some decent players around him to make that possible. Again, this is not, some poverty team that he's going to and just on an island getting double-teamed and say, hey, go get the quarterback. He's going to have some help. So I think this is a great pick for Tampa Bay. Yeah.
He produces, man, and he produces in big moments. And I know, he had Mesidor, his running mate, with him too. So, but I don't know. Like, I think we overthink the room. I understand the stat, Aaron. Who's to say there wasn't somebody whose, arm length wasn't just slightly longer than his, just over that barrier? And how big of a difference does that make? Who knows? All I know is he's a ball player. He made such a big difference on that Miami team. Let's not forget about where Miami as a program has been up until this season. Total bus, mediocre flameouts. Ruben Bain will always be part of the group of guys that resurrected Miami. And I think that says a lot about the leadership ability he has as well. Dude produces in big moments. He looks like the most intense guy, like walking up to shake the commissioner's hand. After the fact, I don't think he's like angry, but I think he's feeling that little bit of a chip that he's at 15
Sure.
and not in the top 10. And
Yeah.
dude's got the hairline of a 32-year-old. I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be really, really good for the Buccaneers. I like Ruben Bain a lot, and I would have liked him as a Cincinnati Bengal, honestly.
Johnny, I'm uncomfortable with using an analogy that is very close to our own age and referencing hairline. That's
Well,
that's
you know.
unfortunate. But reality. So that puts the New York Jets back on the clock. They were at number 2. They selected David Bailey. I think that this could be a Garrett Wilson running mate pick. Mekhi Lemon is still there. I think that that could be a great spot. You had them going Jermon McCoy. He's still available. I think either spot makes sense. Both needs. The Jets were dead last in the NFL, 140 pass yards per game. So anything you can do to help that pass offense, the better. So that is my thought for the Jets. As a more overarching thought, does Ty Simpson going to the Rams at 13 speed up the clock for a team maybe like the Jets or like the Cardinals who were thinking maybe he would last and you could slide in? You don't think so?
No, I don't. Just because there's nobody. I think if Trinidad Chambliss had come out in this draft, he could have been a wild card late in the first round. But I think without that, there's just nobody even rated remotely nearby. I think one wild card here before the commissioner says the name is Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah.
There's a chance that they think he's the best available. Oh my gosh. Hey, there you go. I was going to say there's a chance that they think he's the best available on the board, freak of nature at tight end. The Jets have actually really struggled to produce at the tight end position consistently in the last 5 or 6 years. That is certainly a need, and they have needs all over the field. And when you have needs all over the field, you're not afraid to just take the best available player.
Yeah. So I did a bad thing and didn't wear my Lions t-shirt, but it's my Lions, and there's someone I have to both thank and blame for me being a Detroit Lions fan, and that is Dave Dykema. Dave, thanks for joining us. The Lions are on the clock. What are you looking for right now in terms of maybe a position, or is there a specific player you're eyeing, or just your thoughts on what's transpired here through the first half of the first round?
Yeah, personally, I think the Dolphins saved us because I am not a Caden Proctor fan.
Okay.
So I am glad that that person is gone. I think you're running up and taking Monroe Freeling here. He's a true right tackle. You're going to move Sewell to the left side. You're going to put Freeling and Ratledge, which were teammates at Georgia, side by side again. I think that's your move. If Detroit truly believes in best player available, he is the best player on the board, except for Dylan Finneman, which I think your next guest is probably going to want at the Vikings. So I think if Monroe Freeling was gone, then I think you would be taking Blake Miller, because I think Miller is better than Proctor was. I think he's a Dan Campbell guy. I know Clemson wasn't very good, but I don't necessarily know that it was your right tackle's fault.
Yeah.
So the Lions need pass rush and offensive line. They want to run the football. You got to protect Goff. Goff is, if he has time, he's deadly. You got great weapons. So I mean, they're a pro Super Bowl team. If you can basically get to run the football, play action pass, get back to that. You got to put some pressure on the quarterback, and you really need your 2 Pro Bowl safeties to come back healthy.
Yeah.
If that can happen, I think Detroit wins 12 games next year, probably between them and potentially Green Bay. I think Chicago's taking a step back. I think they won too many close games this last year. I think they're going to figure out. I mean, Detroit beat them twice. So yeah. Detroit has got it in for Chicago. So, I mean, we'll see. Tough division, but I think 4th place schedule now this year. They play some up and coming teams. I don't know. Don't be surprised if that the Giants put Thibodeau on the trading block.
That's the rumor.
And the Lions could definitely pick up him probably for. They're used to giving away third-round picks, so they can probably give a third-round pick away for next year, and maybe pick up somebody like that. But you got. I mean, I trust Holmes and Campbell. It's hard not to. They've drafted well. They have taken some flyers, but I think everybody does. You don't hit on 100% of them, but they seem to know who their guys are. I mean, a few years ago, they took Gibbs and Campbell in the first round, and everybody's losing their mind.
Yep, me included.
And
Yep.
those turned out pretty well. So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. They have been trusted, but I don't think you overthink this one. I think you go up and take Freeling and move on.
Yeah. The only thought on edge rushers, if maybe you didn't think Mesidor was going to be here and you really like him, but I agree. Like, to me, offensive line is the biggest thing. It's funny too, because like watching this season and a couple disappointing losses, you just felt like the offense didn't quite get its footing. You had the offensive coordinator weirdness at the end of the year. Now there's a different offensive coordinator come in, and yet I'm looking at the stats and like 28.5 points per game. That was fourth in the NFL. So it is amazing that we've been somewhat spoiled as a Lions offense, which is something that I don't think anyone in Detroit thought they would ever say. But Johnny, as someone who's not just super dialed into the Lions at all times, what's your take on kind of outside looking in?
Yeah, Freeling's interesting. I don't mind that pick either. I don't think you would have expected Mesidor to be here. And
Or
I
maybe
think you've
Jermod
always
McCoy?
been.
Maybe.
Yeah, Jermod McCoy is interesting, and it's all about, and this is something that we won't have insight to, is what his physical looks like just with his injuries at Tennessee last year.
Yeah.
So you
Well, the
don't
Lions
know
look
about
happy,
that.
So hopefully they got their guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
I mean, it maybe. I think Monroe Freeling is a great look there. I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren, if you're thinking secondary, is not a bad thought either. But I think you've always been looking for that pass rusher backside, if you will.
Yeah, but I think you still got Jordan out there from the Saints that is still sitting out there that Campbell has connections with. He could be a one-year guy that comes in and gives you some pass rush. I know he's 36 or 50 years old or something like that, but you also got Bosa out there that's been rumored to the Lions at some point in time. He's still sitting out there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Some comments that we've had recently. Josh says, great work. Proud of you, Johnny. I think probably referring to nailing the Kenyon Sadiq pick. Rick says, boo Lions. Boo you, Rick. Except we're going to have you on to talk Vikings here in like 2 seconds, so I guess I got to be nice. And then Austin says, glad people are underestimating dub errors.
Yeah.
We'll see. You're right. It's a tough division.
All you guys in the NFC North, man.
Yeah, it's a wild time. Good makes for good family group chats. Yeah, it is interesting that the Lions kind of accidentally backed themselves into a fourth place finish in the NFC North. I think it's going to pay dividends. I think you're right. You said 12 wins. I think that's very possible. Yeah, I think, and especially if the Lions can actually stay healthy for once. So the Lions are making the selection.
Oh, and there you go.
Okay, Blake Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that he was a Dan Campbell guy. He's never missed a practice. I think he missed one practice in 4 years. 4-year starter, captain. I mean, that's Dan Campbell's guy. So he's a tough kid. So I think fine. I think Freeling would have been. I think Freeling's probably a little bit better athlete, but at the end of the day, this is the guy that. This is the guy that they want. I think this fills a hole that they need on the right-hand side. Move Sewell over, and but I still think you got to get a guard. I don't like Mahogany. I don't think he's a 6th-round guy that you plugged in there.
Yeah.
The guy I wanted was Iona from Penn State. I think that would have been you'd have run to the left side almost every single play probably with Sewell and him.
Yeah.
But,
and I think the stat for Ioane was 600 snaps, 0 sacks, something along those lines. Not bad, but
yeah.
I guess.
Dave, what I like
Baltimore.
that you said what you said about Blake Miller though is true though. Like, just because Clemson had a bad season doesn't mean the kid doesn't have a lot of skill and talent. I mean, it was a disappointing season for Clemson in general. They're going to have a lot of names called in the first and second round. That team was littered, especially in the trenches, with a lot of talent. And maybe Blake Miller, surrounded by better players in Detroit, also Ohio kid, I think he could thrive, being moved to the right guard right tackle and there in Detroit, not asked to carry the full load.
Well, the Vikings better take a defensive tackle because we're about to run right down their throats.
That's exactly right. Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your insight on the Lions as always. We're rooting for a good year. 12 wins. Why not 16, 17 wins while we're at it too? But,
yeah, well, it's way past my bedtime, so I'm.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, thanks for sticking with us in the late hours of 9:52 p.m. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, guys.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Well, we're going to go from one guest right to another because we're going, and it's happening. It's happening fast. Rick, welcome to the show. We bring you on immediate pick by the Vikings, who apparently were just sprinting to, to the podium here, and they've got their guy apparently. Let's see. I think Johnny had to step away, so I'm bringing him back. So the picks are flying in. Let's see. I'm looking for it to pop up on my screen. Who the Vikings selected? It like disappeared. But anyways, Rick, what are your thoughts on? And I actually don't think I can hear you right now, Rick. No. Let's see if I can fix it on my end. Okay, Caleb Banks was the pick for the Vikings. Johnny, while Rick figures out his audio, what are your just kind of additional thoughts on that pick?
Surprising.
Yeah.
Another one of those.
List and I don't see him on your first round list.
No, this is the first whoa.
Yeah.
Florida underachieved this season, not because of a lack of talent level on the roster. They just couldn't piece it together fully as a team. Caleb Banks is a house man at defensive tackle. This is so much earlier than I expected them to pick, especially with. But I'm not surprised defense for the Vikings. The Vikings have needs at defense. I was expecting secondary. I was thinking Thieneman, McNeil, Warren were the type of guys at safety. Safety's just such a big glaring need for the Vikings. The fact that they could have had their pick between the two, I really would have expected that from them. And I'm also surprised that the first defensive tackle off the board is not Caden McDonald. That was pretty universal as well, that he was most likely the first defensive tackle. So I'm a little surprised there. But they must have just really liked their scouting report, his pro day, what it looked like there for him. So, Aaron, you're right, though. I feel like these picks are in lightning fast this season. And
I like
the only thing holding us back are the commercials.
That's right. That's right. All right. Rick, we're gonna swap you over to phone real quick. So I will bring you back here in a moment. All right. And then, all right. The Panthers pick is in, apparently. I'm looking at my sheet. Okay, that's the next team.
That's what I mean. They're running. Like these guys,
Yep.
The commercials are the only things holding us back right now. Going back to you guys again with the Lions too, Aaron, I actually had Blake Miller about this point at around that 17, 18. And I was like, oh no, nobody has him anywhere near here. I must be wrong.
All right, Rick, I think
and he's been
we
great.
can hear you, and I think you can hear us.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry about that. I got a new computer,
good.
and of course, nothing ever works.
All good, man. Well, the Vikings.
Well, I
got a
was not
defensive
expecting
player.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a bit of a surprise.
I was because Harrison Smith, longtime safety, retired.
Yep.
That's a big void to fill, and I was a little disappointed the way the season ended. We went on a 5-game heater and earned our draft stock to not even make the playoffs, so it was pointless. And I was like, we probably could have maybe had a shot at Caleb Downs, generational type safety. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised. I was expecting Dylan Thieneman, probably like everyone else, but
Yeah.
I don't really know what to expect from the Vikings anymore.
Pain. No, I'm kidding.
Pain, beating the Lions every year. I mean,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, yeah, it's interesting. Well, let me ask you about this kind of outside of the draft. Obviously, quarterback has been a topic of conversation for us specifically because, as you kind of alluded to, you're a Buckeye fan who obviously roots for the Vikings, so you've had the, the pleasure of watching JJ McCarthy play or try to play quarterback for your team.
yeah.
Things are shifting a little bit there. What is your thought on the quarterback room in Minnesota heading into this year?
I'm excited about Kyler Murray. I think he has a lot of potential. I don't think it's a question that he did not have the best support staff in Carolina, even from a coaching standpoint. And I think Kevin O'Connell's proven he can take quarterbacks that need a little extra help and turn them into great players. He did that with Sam Darnold. That one still stings. We let him go, but he went on to win a Super Bowl. So I don't know that the expectation is that he does the exact same thing with Kyler Murray, but I think Kyler Murray definitely puts us in a better position than JJ was putting us in. You probably don't follow the Vikings too much, but it seems like Justin Jefferson's pretty excited about it. I think he had the way he phrased a few things, he was obviously not happy with JJ McCarthy. So I'm excited. It's they're one of those organizations though. It's like I think they're always good enough to make playoffs, but they're never going to be good enough to win the Super Bowl. And it is what it is.
Yeah, we put out a video recently of the most tortured fan bases in professional sports, and Minnesota made that list. For a combination of different things, the Twins having really the only championship in that city, but obviously the Wild seem to be first round exits every time, and then the Vikings are just the Vikings. So, I think that's felt by the whole fan base for sure. I would say good luck this season, but as a Lions fan that I don't mean it, so I'm not going to lie. But I am hopeful for your own happiness that a pick here helps solidify a rush defense that did allow 124 yards per game. That was 21st in the NFL. So certainly some room for improvement there. And obviously if your offense helps out your defense, then that's going to be, helpful both ways.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at the schedule. Well, at least the opponents. We have the Bills at home. That's always a tough one, but I feel like that could be winnable. And Colts, who knows? Are they the first half of the season Colts or the second half?
Yeah.
Patriots, they have some locker room distractions going on. So who knows how they're going to be next year? And then San Fran and Tampa Bay, but and obviously the NFC North teams. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Rick, we're going to let you go because the Eagles just moved up to number 20, so we're going to talk about that. But thank you for joining us. Appreciate your thoughts on the Vikings. It will be interesting to see how that pans out here over the next few months.
Thanks for having me. See ya.
Yep, appreciate it. All right. Yes, we do have a trade. Let me get us back to our normal screen here.
Well,
and
first,
it is Makai Lemon.
we have the
Monroe
Makai
Freeling
Lemon,
to the
we have
Panthers.
Monroe
I don't want to.
Freeling.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well,
that
because
is
we're just
a
zipping
very
right along.
evident shot across the bow
Ooh,
for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Josh, what's up, my guy?
Hello, gentlemen. Do you
How's it
have?
going?
It's
We're just
great.
trying to catch up with everything.
You know what? I don't need a quarterback. That's fine. We have a great one.
That's right. Yeah.
Super
so to
Bowl
recap,
winning.
Monroe Freeling, Panthers. Johnny, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Makai Lemon goes to the Eagles. They trade up 3 spots to get him.
I actually think they needed to, though. He probably is gone.
Yeah.
Somebody is taking him in that realm. If they wanted him, and the Eagles have the draft capital from all their trades in the previous drafts to give away some of those back-end picks to move up to go get him, although I'm surprised a team like Dallas would do so. But Dallas could use some more draft resources to get a little cheaper around all of those star players. So despite it being a divisional opponent, you kind of have to do what you got to do.
Yeah, and what's funny is the draft capital they may have lost trading up, one spot with Miami, they may have gained right back with this trade back, because that was who was at 20. Who was at 21 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Josh, yeah, you mentioned it. Our Ty Simpson pick from our alternating mock draft is not to be because the Rams made what is, I think, the boldest move of this NFL draft.
Yes.
So
Incredible.
instead, what are your thoughts on the Steelers?
You know, in lieu of this, it seems like the needs are youth. In this case, as always, it's been like the past 5 years. In this case, they already traded for Pittman Jr. Or picked him up in free agency, trying to find maybe a number 3 to go against, like, Roman Wilson. Weapons is the key here. If Rodgers is as good as he says he is, and he has at least one Super Bowl with a coach, and there happens to be a little bit of overlap in when they won, there's a chance that give him some more weapons, let him call some of the plays we saw him do near the end of last season when they were already their standard 9-8. We could see something. Other thing I could see. Pick's not in, right? Yeah. Oh, pick is in. Okay.
No.
I'll make this quick.
You've got a little bit of time.
Josh, it'll take them forever to get to the podium. You're fine.
They got to walk real slow. Theoretically, I just don't know if they would want to put him this high. We lost Jones week 12 against Chicago. So another tackle could be a chance that this is...
Yeah, offensive line's what I had as the second biggest need, minus quarterback, and quarterback's not happening.
But they're gone
right here.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
True.
So
unless you like Caleb Lumu from Utah, he's the only offensive tackle left. I have a first round grade on. The only other guy that is conceivable is I apologize to the young man. It's his first name's Max from Arizona State. Inakior. I can't even say his last name. I'm so sorry. But Josh, I wouldn't be surprised actually if you guys went corner here.
Oh, yeah.
Classic Steeler.
Yep.
Yeah, classic
It's
Steeler.
Steel
the
curtain.
pass defense could be actually improved.
It was
not the
29th.
biggest need. Could be improved. But Jermod
Which is
McCoy
not
a
much
great
of an improvement
value
from the year
here.
prior.
If you
Yeah.
think his physical is good, like, again, it's all about whatever their team, physicians saw in that. But
And he
if you
did
would
work
like
out.
another
He had his
weapon,
pro
could
day, I
in-
believe, last week.
Yeah.
McCoy did.
Mhm.
And it
Could I
sounds like it
interest
went
you
well.
in a Denzel Boston or an Omar Cooper Jr.? Do you have a
I
preference?
had Cooper Jr. on I was checking to make sure he hadn't been taken yet. That was my alternate. We don't need no quarterback
Yeah.
list.
And I had Denzel Boston. So maybe we're just
There you go.
fighting between the two of them right here.
It could be.
Or it could just
fine.
be even more Steelers, and they take Caden McDonald from Ohio State at defensive tackle. Because why wouldn't they? That would
right
wouldn't
there.
that be the most
Steelers
pick?
half the time. Now again, this is Omar Khan. We know generally how he's been drafting, how he's been trading. I've been very happy with it. It's relatively conservative, but it's at the very least mature. That is one thing that I will not criticize Steelers for. Is at the very least there's a caution at times that feels a little mature, and that's the best I can give them because they're all old as heck. But
Real quick, because I said I wouldn't do this and then I did,
oh yeah,
our merch giveaway.
oh
I
yeah,
have selected a winner. I will tell you all after this pick. I apologize for it waiting this long, but again, I mean, you've seen what's happened. We've had a bunch of picks and a bunch of trades and a bunch of stuff to talk about. So I will not forget after this pick.
after this pick.
Right now, we're getting some pretty cool crowd shots of Pittsburgh. Of course, this draft is in Pittsburgh, and the 200,000 are getting their moment as they should, which is pretty
Man.
sweet. I love that the NFL's moved this around. Like Music
Yes.
City Radio Hall was a great vibe, but like seeing what Detroit did and what Green Bay did, and now what Pittsburgh's doing, and all the other places this draft has been, I'm a big fan.
I'm very excited to see all of the TikToks of people who have never been to Pittsburgh trying to drive out of Pittsburgh
Oh,
for the
we've
first
had-
time.
Yeah, we did that one time, Josh. We were there.
We did
alone.
do that.
Oh my.
It was a blessing that it was standstill traffic, and so I had, even though I had 150 feet like the rest of them, I had about 10 minutes to really plan my route. It is, y'all ever, I mean, you guys have, obviously, going from Kentucky into Cincinnati, and it's the same type of You have 3 seconds. You need to get 5 lanes over. This is a good design. Trust us. It's that, but imagine dumber people worked on it, and that's Pittsburgh. And they went, why does Cincinnati only have 1 bridge? They should and they have like 3. They need like 127.
No, they don't.
So
They need 3, and 2 of them are train bridges.
But what if they were 4 dumb drivers from Philly?
Now,
Have you
careful-
considered
careful,
that?
Josh.
Have you
Philadelphians are
considered
used to
that?
The
trains.
Flyers are beating
They-
up the
they love
Penguins.
trains.
I don't think Pittsburgh can say a lot right now.
Oh, that's okay. I'm still reeling from the second round victory of the Stars, and so I've not even had a chance to. Oh, okay, there we go. They are replacing Jones.
Oh,
Max with Max.
Yeah, Max.
Yeah.
That's.
I'm just
I'm
writing
glad
down
I said
Max.
his name later,
Yes.
even though I butchered it.
All right. I mean, that's
Yeah.
good
Gonna have to
because
work
That
whoever
works
your
for me.
quarterback is, I mean, especially if it's Aaron Rodgers, you got to
Protect
try
him.
to protect him.
Yeah,
I kind
absolutely.
of don't think it will be, but also if it's Will Howard, like
He has right.
you got to protect him. Really,
You got to protect. You got to
him.
protect the guy who has 6 entire bones, or you protect the new guy and make sure he keeps all the bones that he has. I guess I'll open my celebratory Bucky's Overbite. Did you guys not get them too? The quarter
got
pounds.
one?
Yes,
Well,
I
no,
got
Josh.
one. I'm
We don't
around
live in
5.
Texas near 20.
You have a Huber
Buc-ee's.
Heights one. It's right there. My brother is like 5 minutes
Yeah,
from it.
just opened. Every single person who lives in the Midwest is there right
Yeah,
now.
that's still only 2/3 of Dallas. So it's you got to get good. You gotta want it. You really gotta
Josh,
want it.
You enjoy your 5-pound Reese's cup or whatever the equivalent of it is.
Quarter
I'm going to
pounds.
give the winner of our merch giveaway, and that is Cassie Hess. So I will be reaching out to
Hey.
you. Congratulations on winning our merch giveaway. Yeah, I will be sending you an email with some details for that. So congratulations, and thanks everyone for joining that. And just again, thanks everyone for being here in the stream. It's been awesome. Austin says, looking forward to the culture change a new coach could bring to the Steelers.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. Also, it could be worse. It could be a worse culture.
It could be.
possibility.
worse.
Here's the thing: is we don't super know because McCarthy had a good staff under him for the most part at Dallas. The issue is the staff that he wasn't able to get rid of, i.e., Jerry. So you have similar tendencies in leadership at times, but we're a lot more, like I said, mature up in the north. There's less hands-on. The Rooneys do step in, obviously, but it's not to the same degree. I think they're going to trust McCarthy a little bit more than Jerry ever trusted him. And there is a good chance McCarthy's a Pittsburgh guy, born and raised. There's a chance that even if it goes not as great as New Dynasty, I think there is still a good chance that there is positive changes that happen. A little bit of energy.
Yeah, Josh, it sounds like Broderick Jones had a setback from that injury, according to Adam Schefter. And I don't know if that's like recent
Yeah, he
reporting
was
or if that's,
seen.
like, brand
He was
new, but-
seen practicing a little bit ago. It just wasn't. I think it was more hope than anything.
Got it.
So, yeah, he was posting some videos, or sorry, no, the team itself posted some videos on Twitter showing him this past month, but that wasn't most likely just not enough.
Okay. Well, we've got the Chargers on the clock at
Oh,
number
look at that.
22. Let's just talk real quick, guys, about who's still left. And Johnny, maybe you can even speak to kind of who's on your big board. But just looking at your mock draft, I mean, Akeem Mesidor still there. Jermod McCoy still there.
Mesidor's still there.
Yeah.
Mesidor's
And
still
you've got
there
both
just because of
safeties.
the repercussions, like domino effect of Bain dropping
Sure.
so far. Mesidor
Yep.
falls because of that, and yeah, the safety position. I guess just not thought of as highly as maybe I projected. But Dallas still is going to get one of them. Oh, and there's Mesidor. Speaking of the
go.
There we go.
Yep. Yeah, Mesidor
But,
to the Chargers at
you know,
22.
Dallas is who I had taking Thieneman.
Yep.
So they could get him or Emmanuel McNeil Warren still. So they are looking much like the Browns, potential huge winners in still trading back and getting who they want. And I know they took Mansour Delane already. So
That defense was so bad.
I'm sorry. No, they didn't. They took Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
So, oh gosh, I'm sorry. They already took a safety. Goodness. The trades have had me all spun around.
Yeah.
So they're definitely not taking a second safety. If you're Dallas now, do you want to reinforce? How do you want to reinforce your defense? You have TJ Parker, defensive end. You have Caden McDaniel, defensive tackle, if you would like to bolster the interior there. Cassius Howell is sitting there. Or do you have Caleb Lumu listed a little bit higher than some other guys? There's still a lot of really good value here on defense right now. I
Keldrick
think
Falk.
you would be reaching if you took just about anyone offensively right now. I think you need to be looking at pass rusher unless you would like to go interior. I think Caden McDonald is a great value at this spot as well. Although I have him projected in a couple picks to the Bears.
I agree. Josh, before we let you go, final thoughts on the Steelers. What's their record 2026? We're making you make a prediction.
Oh yeah,
in
absolutely. A classic 10-7.
April. Okay. All right.
I think it's an
crazy now.
I know,
Don't get
double
crazy.
digit. I'm really stretching here.
Yeah.
10-7, and we will keep our misplaced hope until strong starts, a complete collapse in like October. You know what? The collapse is going to be shorter. It's only going to be like a 3-game slump, and we're going to go, hey, progress. And then a classic first round exit, but with hope. Hey,
like it.
we lost better this time.
I love that.
I love that too.
Or Aaron Rodgers throws his entire back out trying to make his legacy not that of what it was.
Josh, I love
last
your
season.
optimism that Aaron Rodgers is coming back because you still don't even know yet.
Oh no, the cabin hasn't told him yet.
The wood paneling in the cabin.
Yeah, the darkness
Exactly.
must speak. to
Right.
him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As it does all of us.
That's right. I think
As
the
Steelers
Steelers are going to
fans-
be 9-7 with a chance to go 10-7, and they'll tie in a meaningless game against the Cleveland Browns Week 18. That's my pick.
Amen.
Yep. All right, man. Well, thanks for hopping on. Always good to get your
course.
thoughts on anything but the Steelers, and we'll see how the season unfolds. I can say
Go
because Johnny
to
can't.
your Buckies.
Yeah.
Come on.
Action statement, even on
Yes.
this show. Action statement. Best of luck to your Steelers, Josh.
Thank you.
We'll catch up with you next week, and we'll be talking all things
Yes.
draft pretty much next week, anyways. So it'll be good. All right, see you, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Josh.
All right, Cowboys pick is in at 23. I'm with you, Johnny. I think
Yeah,
it's got to
I'm
be
just-
defense. This defense was so bad.
Unfortunately for them, like you have the second and third best safeties still on the board in a way, but you already took a safety. Obviously, you're not taking a second. Yeah, just going back again, like Mekhi Lemon at 20, Dallas trading up and getting him. That's clear signs. AJ Brown, all the reports are true. I don't think anybody's been doubting that, but he's clearly on the trade block. But I believe that has to be after June 1st. For cap and contract reasons. So that's why that's not happening before the draft.
Yep.
So if you haven't been, on Twitter 24/7, as you shouldn't be, you might not know that. So AJ Brown is definitely getting traded away from Philly. This is really confirmation of that. So Devontae Smith's going to need a new running mate. And so they've chosen clearly, really liked Mekhi Lemon when they saw that he was still available. Our friend Max from Arizona State, he's not even played that much football. But again, another one of those physical traits guys who the ceiling is way, way up there for him. He could be brilliant. He had kind of that video with Mike Vrabel teaching him kind of some techniques with dealing with pass rushers that everybody was kind of enamored with at the pro day out in Tempe. So I think he clearly is seen as somebody with so much potential. So that I think that's a very interesting pick. The Steelers really believe that they're going to be able to develop him very well.
And here's to positive videos with Mike Vrabel in them. I digress. Yeah. Yeah. Oof. Okay, so we do have the Dallas Cowboys on the clock at 23. The pick is in, but it's been that way for a little while. Can we also talk about pick 20? The Micah Parsons trade gives what would have been Green Bay's pick to Dallas. They then send that to Philadelphia. Now the Cowboys slide back. I actually haven't seen what the draft compensation for that is yet, but I imagine that is coming shortly. As Roger Goodell announces Malachi Lawrence, edge rusher from UCF. So they go edge, which I thought they could, but I would have thought Keldrick Falk would have been maybe the answer, but they clearly like Malachi Lawrence from UCF.
Yeah, would have thought Keldrick Falk, maybe even a Cassius Howell.
Yeah.
I think this means that if Akeem Mesidor had been there, that's probably the pick. Yeah. But Malachi Lawrence was thought of as a high pick in the second round. So this is not totally out of left field. Very good player on UCF. Now remember, again, if you don't follow college football very closely and you're more of an NFL guy, UCF is in the Big 12. They're not a group of 5 team anymore. And they've really elevated on the offensive and defensive line. So he is very, the competition level for the Golden Knights has risen significantly. And this is just another one of those that specifically Dallas valued him above those other edge rushers.
Could have been TJ
now
Parker
here's
as
the
well.
issue. Here's the issue for Malachi Lawrence, and I ask Dallas fans not to do this. He will not be Micah Parsons. He's a very different pass rusher, very different body type. Don't have that expectation. It's not supposed to be a 1-for-1 type. And obviously you're not picking as high as when you got Micah Parsons either. But I think it's a solid pick. I think surprisingly for Dallas, a strangely not flashy pick. That actually could be a really, really solid one in the long run.
Yeah, the Browns are on the clock at 24. We had talked with Jim earlier. One of the comments he left us was, man, Caleb Downs would have been a lot of fun with the Browns. Obviously, you've got the Ohio connection there, but in a similar vein, now the Browns are back on the clock. They've got a chance, if they want to go safety after going Mansour Delane. Actually, excuse me, sorry. Again, trades are killing me. Spencer Fano was their pick at number 9.
Yeah.
So they could go defense here for sure. Again, defense is not necessarily their primary concern, but again, at 24, you can say, hey, take your pick of Dylan Thieneman and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, who you had both of those players going in the draft at this point. So obviously some things have slowed down as they always do. The other point I'll say too is I think one of the common consensus ideas in this draft was about 20 players have true first round grades. Like if you're talking about the draft as a whole, maybe it's a little weaker compared to other draft classes, which means that now that we're past the 20 pick mark, we are going to start seeing a lot more picks where, hey, maybe you heard the grade was a mid second round, but there's a lot of just a stack of players 20 to 50, and there's not a lot of difference between them. So I think that's what we're going to start seeing, because obviously we've thrown around a lot of the same names here tonight, partially because we knew they were going. I mean, the top 12 was pretty straightforward until we got to Ty Simpson at the Rams at 13. But I do think as an overarching thought that this is kind of the range we are in right now, which makes it, I mean, we're late first round. This is also just what happens, but
not a ton of surprises outside of, yes, the Ty Simpson. But even, like I said, Malachi Lawrence was well thought of, high second round pick. That's not shocking at number 23 that you just have him rated a few spots above some other teams perhaps at edge. That's all we're really talking about. That screams of Dallas says, I want a pass rusher, and he was rated higher on their list. Now, here with Aaron, you mentioned, best players available are probably your two safeties and then your defensive tackle and Caden McDonald. You already got your offensive tackle if you're Cleveland. It still, to me, needs to be offense. The issue is now with Lemon gone, do you have you rated Denzel Boston, Omar Cooper Jr. high enough?
I'll throw
to
Casey
pick here?
Concepcion in there.
Sure. Whatever you feel fits your offense properly.
Yep.
Jerry Jeudy clearly is not a number one wide receiver. Sorry. Just clearly not. To know if Shedeur Sanders is anything in this league, you have got to give him the proper tools to show you. Otherwise, you'll never know. You'll never have any idea if he has no one to throw it to and he's not protected. You're figuring out a little bit of the protection here. The offensive line was not awful last year, but now it should be reinforced. Your running game's okay, solid, 2 decent backs. You need somebody for him to throw it to. If you have those things, you can actually evaluate him. Is he good enough to be a potential franchise quarterback? Without those things, it's incomplete. You're always going to get graded incomplete. So I had Denzel Boston going at 21 to Pittsburgh. It'll be interesting to see if they feel he's worth it there, or Omar Cooper Jr., Casey Concepcion. Aaron, you're right. I think those are kind of the next group. You could have those 3 really in any order. It's all about fit and style for each team's need and their wide receiver room, because they're all very different wide receivers as well. I'm fascinated, and I'd be honestly kind of surprised if it's not a wide receiver based on who's left on the board here and team need.
Yeah, the Browns are about to announce their selection, or I should say Roger Goodell about to announce. As a reminder, which ESPN just did if you're watching there, they did remind us that this is a pick via Jacksonville in the Travis Hunter trade, which I got to say,
Aaron, good call.
Casey Concepcion, yeah, he was my wide receiver 4 coming out. I just think this guy's a stud. He was one of those players in the college football season when he transferred to A&M. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Things could get real for A&M. It did to a point. They made the playoffs, which, they had not done in the college football playoff era. So I like this pick a lot. He's super skilled, really good route runner. I think this is going to be a really good pick for the Browns, who, as you said, need help on offense for whatever the quarterback situation looks like. If it is Shedeur, if it is really, if we're doing the whole, the whole thing.
Gosh, I hope not. For Browns fans' sake, I hope not.
Yeah,
it'd be good for me as a Bengals fan, and I hope not.
That's right. So the Browns wrap up there with 24. The Chicago Bears are on the clock, and in true fashion here, apparently at Fifth and Goal Sports, we've just got a guest for every NFC North team, and we're going to bring in Austin, who is excited about his Chicago Bears. Austin, first of all, can we talk about the fact that it's 10:24 p.m. Eastern time, and the Bears have yet to make a draft pick? That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's kind of weird not, having a top 10 pick and having to wait this long. And
you have a quarterback. I mean, things.
Yeah, we have a quarterback. We have some threats
banner
on offense.
Yeah.
So definitely a different strategy this time, but I think the Bears front office is sometimes can make the right call. Sometimes it feels like we're shooting 50%, but I think the ones we do win on, we're doing pretty well, and there's only been a couple misses that we're getting past. But
yeah, I think one of the most interesting things about the Bears last year is you think Bears, you think culture, you think defense, you think toughness, and that was there to a point. But you look at the stats, like top 10 offense, bottom 10 defense. One of the needs I've got is safety. Austin, I'm curious your thoughts on, again, we've had 24 picks, so there's, you're trying to sift through who's remaining, but thoughts on a position you're looking for, or one side of the ball, or maybe a specific player?
Yeah, definitely defense. Last year, it was definitely a struggle, just with injuries and the lack of depth. So we were having, pretty much anyone who could find a helmet play linebacker. Luckily, we've filled that position through some trades, and definitely safety. But as an Ohio State fan, I'm looking at the board and I see Caden McDonald, and I just know what a beast that guy is. And I'm like, I kind of like him, but I also know safety is a big spot that needs filled. So I think defense anywhere, it's a win for us.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny, you had McDonald mocked 25 to the Bears, so that'd be a pretty good pull.
I also had Thieneman, gone, and McNeil Warren. And Austin, you're absolutely right. Like, safety is a pretty glaring need. So I wonder if there's been a recalculation with those two guys still on the board. But Caden McDonald would also help just with, obviously, in the run stopping game, too. So you're right. It sounds like you're happy either way. Obviously, as a Buckeye fan, too, you kind of love when your pro team gets one of your favorite Buckeyes. But I would be surprised if it was not a safety, if it was somebody other than Caden McDonald.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you're seeing there, that run defense can use some help. Caden McDonald, you just keep building in that line, man. So I don't know. Obviously, you can always use another pass rusher. Maybe Keldrick Falk, Cassius Howe is in the thought process here as well. I think you're looking at probably just taking the best available defender on the board, unless they feel that poorly about the safety position.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, I mean, you can see on the graphic, too, they also have 2 second-round picks in the third, so, doubtful that by the time their pick rolls around in the second that both would be available. In fact, extremely doubtful. But we're also sitting here, and I think, Austin, you're kind of in agreement. Like, you're sitting here with 3 really solid defensive options, and you just get to pick your top choice, which is good. That's a good thing for sure. At 25, I can't believe. By the way, I will say, shout out NFL. Besides the commercials in which we just see the pick is in for a year, the quickened tempo, I'm kind of a fan of. So, it's 10:30 and we've only got
is it
7
ultimately going to be a faster tempo, or are they just going to drag this out and get as close to midnight as possible?
Oh, I'm sure they will. Austin, I'll ask you this, because obviously the Bears win the division and take down the Packers in the playoffs. So kind of dream season. I mean, obviously you want to win a Super Bowl, but in a lot of ways, the dream season. Now you have a first place schedule. What's the thought heading into 2026? First place schedule, but alternatively, you also now have a fan base and a team that has confidence because they've been there and they've kind of done that. What's your outlook on the 26 season?
It's definitely confidence, but that's always the case. And, that's hurt in the past.
Right.
I think you're looking at the division at least, and I don't think Minnesota's there. I think Green Bay is still trying to figure stuff out, and I think it could be between my team, your team, us, Bears, and the Lions. Looking at the schedule, I mean, you do have like Bills week 2, which that's always a tough choice. You'd rather look at Josh Allen later in the season where he's going to, potentially blow a playoff chance or something like that.
You said week 2? Is that announced for week 2?
I think so.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Because then if it is week 2, then you're talking maybe they'd probably give Bills home opener week 1 with that new stadium. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. The pick is in fancy lighting as Commissioner is approaching. And I'm going to do my best to read some lips. Although, Austin, if you get it first, blurt it out. But the pick is...
It looks like it's Dylan Thieneman.
Okay.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice. It's definitely going to fill some holes on defense, and hopefully we can find a couple more people to pick up the pace later in the second round, third round.
Yeah, I think you'll find that because, again, we're talking edge rushers that have kind of fallen a little bit, like TJ Parker, Keldrick Falk still available. And so that, not that you're going to get those guys, but that's kind of, going to push down all the other edge players. So that's great. I mean, Thieneman, that was, in terms of need, that was number one.
Glaring need.
Which was one of the most obvious number one needs kind of as I was assessing all these different teams. So I like that pick a lot. You get a Big Ten guy.
And the fact that he's still there.
Because it's Oregon. But yeah, right. The fact that he was there. I mean, you had him, Johnny, at 20. He goes 25.
Right. You would recalculate in all of these situations given how the board falls. And I part of the reason I had the Bears taking Caden McDonald is because I thought they're not going to take a fourth safety in the first round. The Bears at that point will wait. But you get the second best safety potentially on the board. I think you have to be pretty thrilled staying put and him falling to you.
Yeah. Well, Austin, thanks for jumping on with us. As always, it's good to talk to you. This is easily the latest we've ever talked to you on one of these shows. So, again, I can't really say this from the bottom of my heart. Maybe Johnny can, but I hope we continue to see you around 10:30 Eastern time on these draft shows moving forward. So, yeah, best of luck to the Bears. One of these days, I got to make it out there for a game, so we'll make that happen.
For sure.
Yep. All right, man. Good to talk to you.
Sounds
See
good.
you, Austin.
Have a good one. All right. We are 25 picks in, 7 to go. I've got 2 questions for you, Johnny. Number 1, do we see, and I think I know your answer to this because you've been pretty upfront about this the whole way. Do we see a team like the Jets or the Cardinals who have some draft capital, who are right on the edge of the second round? Do we see them take a little bit of a slide to get one more, nab at the first round?
No. The only guy I see, that doesn't mean I'm saying that there won't be
We
any
do have a
trades.
trade here, by the way. Sorry, not to interrupt.
Well, there you
but
go.
sort
No,
of to
that's
interrupt,
good.
Houston moving up to 26, which is where Buffalo was.
That's why I'm glad I said I'm not saying there won't be any more trades. But I don't think, I was talking more about those type of trades potentially going up and getting Ty Simpson. Ty goes off the board much, much earlier.
Yeah.
And I will say this is one of the years where the late intel was actually pretty accurate on a lot of these picks.
Yeah,
a lot of times it's kind of throwing you off. Yeah, a lot of times this is like fake, where it's like, okay, last minute, you're kind of trying to throw people off the scent. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
This year, very, very accurate with a lot of these type of picks. So I'm fascinated by that with the Rams. Obviously, that's my number one thing I'm going to kind of almost take away, like surprise-wise. I'm interested here. Texans moving up. Is this because, okay, Texans also, Aaron, you were talking about glaring need with the Bears.
Yeah.
At safety. Offensive line has to be up there for the Texans. But are you trading up for Lumu? Like Lomu here from Utah? Because he is the only tackle left I have remotely graded for near the first round.
Yeah.
I did have him going 27 originally to San Francisco as a Trent Williams backup plan. Is Houston now trading up for Caden McDonald? Because, wow, we didn't think he'd be there. But, man, would that be not a waste, but that would be just such a ridiculous miscalculation to me. You so desperately have the needs on offense, not on defense. You could even argue that to get Stroud another weapon to throw the ball to, just because his wide receivers are always hurt. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm interested with the Texans' thought process here. If it is Lomu, makes all the sense in the world because I think the 49ers were going to take him. But if that's not the pick, I'm very confused what the strategy is.
Oh, we're about to find out. I should just put the commissioner's phone into the mic. But you all are watching at home.
Well,
and it is Kalen Rutledge from Georgia Tech. So it is offensive lineman.
It's offensive line.
Yeah. Yeah.
At
this guy's a
least it's
stud.
Offensive line.
Yeah. It's not a tackle, but this guy's a stud. It was a pleasure to watch him at Georgia Tech. Just fit the Brent Key mold so well. So interesting. They felt like they needed an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I would have thought Lomu would have been the choice there as well. And you
Another
said
trade.
You've got him mocked to the 49ers, and the 49ers are trading this pick to Miami. Is this where Miami gets a wide receiver? Because, boy, it's a need.
Yeah, maybe. Here's my one concern.
And Miami jumps up 4 spots here, by the way.
Yeah. When it comes to Rutledge, that was such a run-heavy offense.
Yeah.
And maybe that's Houston saying that's what we want to be.
Yep.
Will it translate to pass pro? I'm not saying it won't. It's just a question of
Sure.
that's hard to know watching the tape. Just because Haynes King and that offense was all about the ground game and play action off of it, off script throws after that. So it's just a question with a quarterback that, Stroud can run, but you and I, Aaron, both know that's not his preference from his
Correct.
Buckeye days. So it's just a question. You're right. I love the guy. Guy's a workhorse. Like that Georgia Tech team was so fun to watch in general. You love that. I love watching a Brent Key team. So he got coached up right in the trenches too.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to see how that looks. So I'm very pleased for Stroud and Houston Texans fans that they're trying to do something for the offensive line. Because last offseason, I thought it was malpractice what they did / did not do at the offensive line to try to have a give Stroud a real chance back there. And you saw him regress. And that might not just be because of the offensive line, but it's hard to tell because of how bad that offensive line was.
Yeah, no question there. So we have officially topped last year's trades. We had 4 in 2025. We're up to 5 now. So we think, and again, I think ESPN's kind of updating their information here, but we think it should be Miami now, then Buffalo, then Kansas City, then San Francisco, and then we'll round out with New England and Seattle. And even looking at the Kansas City and Miami picks, originally those were from trades. The Kansas City Chiefs pick from the Trent McDuffie trade. The Miami pick that is happening right now was from the Denver trade. We talked to Logan about that earlier. So basically every single pick the rest of the way, minus the 2 Super Bowl teams, was some part of a trade. My second question that I didn't get a chance to ask you because we were rudely interrupted by all of those trades happening at once was, which team drafts the next quarterback?
Oh,
And there's 32 of them, so
Well,
I'll play this game too.
Yeah, on your trade thing, as of now, 15 of the 32 picks in this first round will not be picked by the initial team.
Wow.
Like, doesn't mean it was all traded tonight, but it was part of a trade at some point. 15 of 32.
That's crazy.
And New England and Seattle could make that, perfect half
Yeah.
if one of them trades that pick, one of their picks. So that's crazy. Aaron, it's interesting. It's a great question because you have a lot of quarterbacks, like a Carson Beck. After his sophomore year, everyone's like, man, he could be the number 1 pick. And now he's probably 4th round. I mean, doesn't that sound, you have a guy like Nussmeier at LSU who was really highly thought of, just couldn't get right health-wise this last season specifically. The year before it was because that offensive line was so bad and they couldn't run the ball. And this year it was more of the same. Is that he's incapable? Is that because he had no help and he's not really a dual threat quarterback? So you have some interesting guys, but I would actually, Aaron, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see another quarterback tomorrow.
Oh, for sure.
And it's not, and then it's not even until Saturday. I'm not expecting a lot of quarterbacks to be drafted in general in this entire draft. But if I had to, if you just said you need to make a prediction, I would go no quarterbacks are drafted tomorrow. So that makes it a crapshoot with what team's going to pick a quarterback first. But
it could be
the
anybody at that
Dolphins and Cardinals and Jets will be taking quarterbacks at some point.
Chris Johnson from San Diego State, which
you
was
go.
the next point I was about to make, because I was about to say that the glaring, lack of position being drafted right now is cornerback, because we still got Jermod McCoy there. We had, Chris Johnson, who was just drafted. You've got Colton Hood from Tennessee, who was sort of McCoy's replacement, and he played very well. And
Delane's the only corner to be drafted before Chris
Correct.
Johnson, right?
Yep.
Man, did the Chiefs just crazily overpay to go get their corner. I mean, now I said before the draft even started, you know your guy, go get your guy. Like, and forget whatever I have to say about it or anyone has to say about it. But
And they lost both of them,
I
both
just-
of their corners.
I just think it was very much unnecessary because the teams in between them were not taking a corner, most likely. Like it just wasn't going to happen. And your second corner, this is the second corner coming off the board all the way down at 27. And I'm not surprised Chris Johnson's getting picked around this spot.
We've got a trade.
You know, another
Got a
one.
trade.
Oh, there you
Buffalo
go.
is just trying to slide all the way out of the first round. So it's New England drafting right now, which is fascinating. Michael says Steelers probably next to take a quarterback, in parentheses, back in like fourth round. I could totally see that.
Yeah,
So
that's very possible.
Logan says there's nobody here at 27 that would help us, and us meaning Denver, win any more as soon as possible than Waddle. Feel even better about the trade now, seeing what was there at 27. That's very fair. In terms of like the wide receivers available and the other positions of need for the Broncos, I think that's extremely fair. So it is the New England Patriots that are up now at pick 28. This is just scribbles right now. I can tell you that.
A mess.
Interesting
mess.
that the Patriots
Aaron,
have moved up.
Yeah. It was a good point by Logan there, though. Not all first-round picks are equal. When you make those trades, a lot of times people are like, a first-round pick? Well, where are you picking? If we're talking a top 10 pick, that's why for the Bengals I was so frustrated giving away a top 10 pick, and now I know Caleb Downs was there. That's frustrating. You're giving away a pick in the lower 20s. Most of the time for a known commodity, that's worth it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what kind of haul the Buffalo Bills have right now with those trades.
Ooh, yep.
And Caleb
They
Lomu goes,
saw
and this
Caleb Lomu there. Yep.
and that's the right decision for the Patriots. I was about to say there was one offensive lineman name that we had mentioned as a first-round talent that was still available. We all saw what happened in the Super Bowl and kind of the playoffs overall, just in terms of how Drake May was running for his life a lot of times. So this makes a lot of sense. I think maybe it was dawning on the Patriots that, oh, this guy really will be available. A guy that you had at actually 27. So, in terms of position number,
Close.
only one off. So you're very, very close there for Caleb Lomu. And that's really kind of the last offensive lineman that we have as far as a first round grade. Of course, we don't have any first round picks left at all. Interested to see, will a wide receiver come off the board at some point here? Again, Miami did not pick a wide receiver, which I'm just a little surprised by. But again, we're talking about
Aaron,
a Miami
I
team that
agree
has
with
so
the
many
mindset,
needs.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's still
I
wide
agree with the
receivers.
mindset.
Yeah, there's still some to come. They're still loaded on draft picks as well. Interesting that they jumped up 4 spots to get Chris Johnson. So the Kansas City Chiefs are now on the clock at 29, 4 picks remaining. But Logan, I agree with your point because we talked about it earlier tonight. Like that kind of chasm, if you want to call it that, 20 to 50, just that it's not a wash because that's oversimplifying and kind of diminishing some of the individual talent of the people we're talking about. But as a general rule, like what we're saying is pick 21 is not going to be that far away from pick 48, which is not always the case.
Right.
At least that's the perception. How will that play out? We're about to find out. But Caleb Lomu goes to the New England Patriots.
And I had them taking Blake Miller, so I had them taking a tackle to begin with as well.
Yep.
They have to be happy with that. And I will say about the Patriots, that was a relatively young offensive line, too.
Yeah.
So this is reinforcing it. I do expect them to get better as a group, but Lomu just helps reinforce that. And now you got the Chiefs sitting here again. They traded up. They got their corner in Mansour Delane, so that's kind of fixed. You still have a need at safety. If you wanted to fix the secondary all in one fell swoop in the first round, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is still there. Or you could aid that pass rush. Keldrick Falk is who I actually had at this pick. I think that would be a really smart pick for Kansas City, but again, I didn't think Emmanuel McNeil-Warren would be there either, so that would be, I think, also really, really good for them. So I think the Chiefs should be relatively pleased with where they're sitting after trading away Trent McDuffie to the Rams for this pick, they still are going to get actually good value for their pick based on their need, as opposed to Logan's Broncos, who are like, this probably isn't. And that's why it's just funny, you know? Logan's Broncos would have wanted a wide receiver, and you're sitting here and you're like, I don't know if there's really the wide receiver we want here. Meanwhile, the Chiefs trade away their star corner, and they're sitting here and they're thinking, we can go get secondary help or the pass rusher we really need. So, all about perspective. Every draft's different with what it loads you up in different position rooms. Keldrick Falk would definitely be my assumption here.
I think so too. I'll just read quickly the names that are kind of on your proverbial big board. Again, this is just based on your mock, so I know it's not a true big board per se. But you've got Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker from Texas, C.J. Allen, linebacker from Georgia. Really haven't seen a ton of linebackers taken really at all. I mean, you can kind of quantify Sonny Styles as that position, obviously, but really outside of that, I mean, Arvell Reese, technically linebacker, but also edge rusher, depending on your view there. And then you've got Chris Johnson's gone. Wide receivers, you still got some options there. Omar Cooper, Denzel Boston. Safety, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, still available. You had him at 18, and I think he's, Toledo, so he's probably getting overlooked. I'll just throw that out there. Shout out Mac. Yep. You got TJ Parker from Clemson, defensive end, which that could also be a pick here for the Chiefs as well, depending on their perspective, if they like Falk or Parker better. And then Jadarian Price, Notre Dame's running back, unlikely to go here, although it is worth noting you had him mocked to the Seahawks, who now, of course, do not have Kenneth Walker, so that's an interesting thought. Logan does add to this whole conversation that if I'm happy, it's also a bad sign, as we said. So, fair point.
But you're not happy about a draft pick, Logan. You just didn't get a pick, so maybe it doesn't work the same. I don't know.
Yeah.
The draft. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was just going to say, is there an immediate A grade that pops into your head for a team based, again, solely based on one pick, which is not how the complete draft is put together? But is there any, because we're through 28, is there any automatic A's that you're handing out?
There isn't a standout team to me. Like there is normally, just right off the bat, oh my gosh, knocked it out of the park. I think, and also giving out grade after one round is hard because you get so much value in the second, third, fourth, fifth round picks. Right now, Washington has to be thrilled with that Sonny Styles falling to them at 7. I think they have to be thrilled out of their minds. They should be happy. Obviously, the Giants are going to win the draft no matter what. When you have 2 top 10 picks, which is why I always say when people are like, we won the draft, I'm like, cool, you have to be in position to win the draft. Seattle's not going to win the draft, and they're okay with that. But the Giants obviously getting Reese and Maui Noah, they're really happy. Aaron, you said Peter Woods. There's Peter Woods for Kansas City.
I said TJ Parker from Clemson. So
you did?
It's a Clemson player, but it's Peter Woods. It's interesting. No Caden McDonald so far. We've seen 2 defensive tackles, and that was one of the
Peter
things.
Woods.
Yeah, what's interesting is there was not a lot of consensus in this draft, but Fernando Mendoza at 1 was consensus. The fact that we would have the 3 wide receivers in not necessarily in the order that they were selected, but kind of, but also just that they would be the top 3. And I thought the consensus was Caden McDonald's the first tackle, and at best he's going to be the 3rd, which is fascinating.
Yeah, I thought at worst he'd be 2nd.
Yeah,
and there's another trade.
Oh,
Jets.
Yeehaw! Oh, they're going to pick a quarterback. I'm just kidding. The Bears get an A. They needed a safety. They got a safety, says Austin.
Yeah.
I mean, especially...
I don't disagree, Austin.
Yeah, I don't disagree either, especially where that fell. So it is the Jets. So I was trying to get you to say yes to this question earlier. I said, will the Jets or Cardinals move up into the first round? So you've been right almost all night, Johnny, so I have to rub this one in that this time...
I mean, it's not for a quarterback.
No. Which does beg the question, who would it be? So... just as a reminder, San Francisco has likely dropped all the way out of the first round. They were at 27. They traded. They dropped 4 with the Miami trade. Miami moves up to get Chris Johnson. And now, as of right now, it appears that the San Francisco Giants, it's baseball season, folks, the San Francisco 49ers have moved out of the first round and will pick soon, early tomorrow, but interesting.
I assume the second pick of the second round. I assume
Yes,
that's where
that would
they're
be my
moving to.
assumption too. Now, I said this when the Jets selected, and I'm trying to find all my notes because everything's a mess. When they picked Kenyon Sadiq, I thought maybe they'd get a running mate for Garrett Wilson at wide receiver. Did they do that now that they have Sadiq as well? Potentially, because you've got, you still have Denzel Boston, you still have Omar Cooper Jr. So it'd be interesting to see if either of those two are the pick. Again, we're talking
Aaron,
about the
to me,
Jets,
this
so you're talking
screams-
about needing anybody. 3 first-round picks, mind you, now for the New York Jets.
Yeah. This screams dude available that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
All right. So what have they met so far needs wise? Tight end, big need, filled.
Yep.
Pass rusher, David Bailey, filled, already done. You just were mentioning Caden McDonald, defensive tackle, need. Keldrick Falk, still available. I don't think because you took David Bailey. So my
think so either.
thought process is a Caden McDonald or an Emmanuel McNeil Warren
That's true.
type player who's like, oh man, he's still there. Let's go get him. That's what I typically expect when you see a trade up like this. Surprised that a guy's falling and he's still available. Oh, no, you were right.
Yeah.
Running mate, Garrett Wilson. And I don't know if I actually care for that pick.
It does not seem like it was needed to move up. Like we're both Omar
No.
Cooper, and again, you said it, Johnny. If your guy's there, go get him. As Michael reminds us, Indiana legend Omar Cooper, absolutely.
Correct.
Go get your guy.
No hate on him.
Yeah, no hate on him. But if Omar Cooper, you're telling me Omar Cooper and Denzel Boston both gone by the time we get to round 2, pick 2, with
No.
2 picks left in the first round. I just don't
Seahawks
see it.
aren't taking a wide receiver.
Correct.
Maybe the Bills are. Maybe. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even sold the Bills will after their last top wide receiver draft pick. I don't. I'm surprised, honestly, because I don't. Maybe maybe you think the Raiders are really going to take a wide receiver. Like that's possible. But
And the New York Jets had
I
the
don't know,
first
man.
pick in the second round, it appears. So the San Francisco
Oh, okay.
49ers will open us up tomorrow with a selection. So they move right out of the first round, slide from 27 on out. First, I almost said it out loud, too, that, man, didn't get the number of trades that I thought we were going to get. And, whew,
yes, we did.
yes, we
Aaron,
did.
And with those trades, I think that is an even 16. So half of the picks are not picked by their originally assigned team in this first round.
we may be beyond that, just
but-
looking at this thing. 1, 2,
But
3,
we're-
4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
I just-
9, 10,
so
11,
here-
12,
here's the
13,
thing.
14, 15. So, yeah,
And this is where you have David Bailey, you get Kenyon Sadiq, and you get Omar Cooper Jr. I just don't see the plan here. It went by the Jets. And these are the types of confusing drafts that you get. And I'm sure Jets fans, maybe you're thrilled. I think you're probably confused. David Bailey makes all the sense in the world. I have no issue there. Kenyon Sadiq, freak of nature. Tight end's a need, but that's not a crucial position. Omar Cooper Jr. Yes, again, you need another wide receiver to go with Garrett Wilson. Is that how you set the table for an incoming quarterback probably next year? I don't know. Yes, it's good to have weapons to throw it to. I don't know. I'm not sold on the thought process here. You still had quality tackles to take when you took Sadiq.
Yep.
That I would have rather seen them take. Now at this point in time, you could have sent, to your point, Aaron, had to give up. We don't know the draft capital you had to give up, but you had to give up something to go get Omar Cooper Jr. Oh, and the Bills are now trading this pick now again as well, trading to Tennessee.
interesting. So Buffalo slides right out of the first round.
So there's somebody Tennessee really likes that's still available that they're surprised is still there.
So Buffalo goes from 26 on out to 35? Question mark.
I believe
Well, I mean,
so.
Tennessee, that's interesting. Obviously, they got
They got Carnell Tate,
Yeah, they
so
got
they're
Carnell
not trading
Tate, so-
back up for a wide receiver.
This to me seems like it would be an offensive lineman, but I don't know who would be here that you would like.
I don't see one that you like. Yeah, exactly. Maybe a Jadarian Price, or once again, we've already talked about, Tennessee's void of talent in a lot of spots.
Sure.
I know I keep saying the same names, but Caden McDonald, Cassius Howe, McNeil Warren, those are, they need help on defense too. Yes, you need to protect Cam Ward and see if he actually can be your franchise quarterback. But that defense needs a lot of help too.
It does, yeah. And there's still
At all
really
three
solid
levels.
defensive players. I mean, Emmanuel McNeil Warren is, again, you're right. We're kicking around the same names, but 'tis the season, because that's what happens when you get to the penultimate pick of the first round. Anthony Hill, CJ Allen still available if linebacker is the position of choice for the Titans here at 31. It will be, yeah, you're right. It's going to be fascinating to see what did these teams give up to make all these moves. It's going to be very interesting. Denzel Boston's
They're not
still
moving
available
a
too.
lot of-
Not going to happen for Tennessee here, but
Yeah, these aren't huge moves, so I bet it's not much more than a 4th or 5th round pick or a couple of them. But it'll be interesting to see what they had to do to move up to really critique whether that was the right pick, especially for you Jets. Looking at you.
yeah. Johnny and chat, how we feeling about the new
There he
Tennessee
is.
logo? Keldrick Falk.
Keldrick Falk. I think they should give the Oilers logo, color scheme, everything back to the Texans, because that's a better name, and do your own thing, because they basically went back to the Oilers color scheme.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think they've released the whole uniforms. I honestly don't remember what they look like. I need to go back and see it. I don't know. You basically got
There's
rid of the
Keldrick
flames.
Falk.
You changed the colors and got rid of the flames. We should be adding more flames, in my opinion, to just everything.
True.
So that's my take. But chat, let me know. Let me know what you think on the new Tennessee lids and threads.
I like that pick for Tennessee.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
You didn't think Keldrick Falk would be there. You moved up a few more spaces. I think there is legitimate concern he would not have been available had you stood pat in the second round. A little surprised Keldrick Falk is still even there. So I think that's a solid job by Tennessee to go get him. Go get some quality players. I think I'm going to feel good about Tennessee coming out of this draft, especially with that trade up and take. But like I said, draft grades aren't remotely finished until after day 2 and day
That's
3 of the draft. That's when you find a lot of diamonds in the rough. That's where you find your depth pieces to fill out your roster. So anybody who says when you're staring at your TV watching the 6th round of the NFL draft that it doesn't matter, they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong, because that is your starting middle linebacker when your starting one gets hurt in week 15.
Or just your starting linebacker in general. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4th round pick from my Detroit Lions. All right, everyone. Last pick. So before we talk about that, I just want to say thank you to everyone that jumped on this live stream. Always good to have you guys here. It's a blast every time. Thank you for everyone that was on here as a guest. We really appreciate you guys being willing to hop on and just talk sports with us. It is always a good time. So one last pick, which means everyone gets one more last guess at who the pick will be. Seattle is on the clock at 32. Johnny, originally you had Jadarian Price, Notre Dame's other running back, not named Jeremiah Love. Makes a lot of sense.
I don't feel good about that pick at this point.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of other names that we've kicked around. I mean, again, we're not, as my mic breaks, that's how we're doing the last pick of the draft. At risk of, being a Mel Kiper and just screaming Shadur Sanders' name into the void, I think it's pretty surprising some of the names that will not be a first-round pick. I think Caden McDonald comes to mind most of all, but you got a Cassius Howe.
Yeah.
And again, we're in the 20 to 50 range, so I say surprising.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't fully mean that, but Emmanuel McNeil Warren, those are all names that I think a lot of people had mocked in the first round, and not all of those names will be. So that will be interesting to see moving into tomorrow.
Aaron, Seattle lost a lot in their secondary after their Super Bowl run. Can't pay everybody.
Yeah.
Jamon McCoy's still sitting there.
Yeah, I
and
didn't even say
maybe
him,
that
yeah.
medical did not come back clean. Maybe there's more concerns than I know of, and maybe he's that free falling player. You always have somebody, even, and it's usually not even a top 10 draft pick that people are expecting. It's usually actually in that 10 to 20 range that all of a sudden is getting picked at the top of the third round. And you're like, how did that happen? Jermod McCoy, it's pretty evident why that would potentially happen. I hope that's not the case, obviously. But he would be wonderful for Seattle to stand pat at 32 and get a potential starting replacement corner if, again, the medical is good and he's ready to go potentially this year. And he worked out, so I don't.
From what I heard, I thought it went well. So
yeah, I don't see why that would be some giant case. He would be my pick here at Seattle, even with Jadarian Price still sitting there, because I think you can risk that if you're Seattle. I don't think anybody else is in a rush to take a running back, and you could get potentially, in my opinion, the first or second best corner in the entire draft, and I think he's just paying the price for not playing this season.
Yeah, he missed all of this season. Didn't play at all, despite, what was it, torn ACL at the end of the 24 season. So it's been a long recovery for McCoy, and so that's why it's so
not all ACL tears are the same. Those soft tissue muscle injuries are not ever created equal person to person, and 9 months is the norm, not the every person. So he was so good the year before. I think he's worth the flyer for the Super Bowl winner.
Too.
That the upside is immense with Jermod McCoy. So, and he's a big reason why that Tennessee defense dropped off so precipitously from last year to this year. Not having your lockdown corner on the outside to split the, field in half.
Yep, totally agree. We are heading into the final pick of the first round. I'll also add McCoy, I think, tested at 4.38 in the 40, and I know ACL, you're kind of more concerned with the side to side, but I can live with that.
Yeah, that would be my pick here. We'll see. I've been more right on the fly than I think I was predicting beforehand.
I'm impressed. The Kenyon Sadiq pick probably tops all in terms of that crystal ball. So I can't get over the Ty Simpson thing. If you're a fan of the Fifth and Goal,
that'll be what
podcast,
everybody talks tomorrow morning. That'll be the talking point. Everybody.
Yeah. Because it's a Green Bay Packers situation.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not really, because the Green Bay Packers weren't that close.
Right. I don't think Matt Stafford's going to be as prickly as a mentor, but also he's got to be kind of like, dude, we had the 13th overall pick and you didn't get me help. We were a play away from getting to and probably winning the Super Bowl last year. Why wouldn't you get me something to help me now? It's good for the Rams' longevity potentially to not just fall off the cliff, but everybody after being a Super Bowl contender has some sort of recycle period. Sometimes it's only a year or two, and sometimes you don't go all the way into drafting in the top 10, but you always kind of fall off a little bit, and then you might come back. You have that little pendulum swing still. I'm fascinated by the thought process there when you're so close. Oh, and it is Jadarian Price. Okay.
Well done, Johnny. Way to wrap up the draft with a correct pick.
I'll take one. I'll take a win at the end.
2 Notre Dame running backs going in the first round of the draft. We joked about, how did Ohio State not win a national championship? Notre Dame, how did you miss the playoff? And I know you're saying, well, the committee hated us because we only lost 2 games. You lost 2 games partially because you just didn't handle your running backs very well at the beginning. You figured it out at the end, but we could play the what-if game with Notre Dame for sure. Interesting thing with Price, obviously very solid. That 1-2 punch with him and Love was great. He did have a little bit more fumble issues than Love, and by a little bit, I mean Love didn't fumble at all, and Price did a little bit. So that's potentially a concern, but I mean, Kenneth Walker gone to the Kansas City Chiefs. Zach Charbonnet, question mark on health. We talked about this a little bit on Monday, so we don't need to rehash the whole thing. But yeah, Johnny, I think you nailed it to wrap up things. And I think this is a good pick for Seattle. And apparently they felt content with that pick, despite some of the players that are still available heading into tomorrow.
Yeah, I thought they might rethink it just based on who was available and potential need for the team. But clearly, if you don't have a starting running back, what are you doing here? And Sam Darnold had a great season, but he still lives off play action. As do a lot of teams. And Jadarian Price, I think one thing, and I mentioned on the podcast too, something you have to be happy about Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price is they share the workload. So there's a little extra tread on that tire potentially left for these two running backs compared to a lot of other running backs who might have been a workhorse in college all 4 years. These guys got to share the load. And I think that will pay dividends. And I'm sure that excites a team like Seattle taking Price. They don't see him being the second guy as detrimental. I think they actually see that as an asset and a benefit for the team moving forward, that he might be able to last longer.
Yeah, I completely agree. The Cardinals taking a very, well, I shouldn't say different approach, but a different approach with their running back at 3. We'll talk about that all later this week. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Logan said, enjoyed it, boys. Great stuff as always. Really appreciate all your guys' support. It's awesome. Even just, it's been a couple years since we've done this. So even just getting to run this back has been a lot of fun. And to see even how the channel has grown since that point is a lot of fun. So we'll continue making NFL content for you all. Not actually for you all. It's kind of for us because we enjoy it. But it's for you all as well. So enjoy the remainder of the NFL draft. Jacob Rodriguez. Whichever team takes him, that's my guy. And I think it'll happen sometime tomorrow. There's still linebackers out there, Anthony Hill, CJ Allen,
Bengals
before him. But yeah, Johnny, I think that'd be great. That's my player to watch. I think Zachariah Branch on the right team could be lethal just because of his insane speed. And Eli Stowers, tight end. Those are my sleeper players to watch in later rounds. So, all right. That wraps us up. My iPad's at 3%. My brain's at 2%. We're going to wrap things up here. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Subscribe if you haven't already, but you guys have because you're here at the end at 11:08 p.m. We will talk to you all this week. We've got a podcast rolling out on Wednesday for you all. We'll recap everything that happened here in the next 2 days. So for myself, for Johnny, we're out. Thanks, everyone.